Slowly.
So slow.
Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go.
Yeah, let's
Fucking
go. Let's fucking
Fucking
go.
go.
All right, this is X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
What I've been saying while our world's going to shit.
It's nice because all your sound clips are going to be from the trailers, I assume. Because where else would you have gotten them from?
You betcha.
Yeah, okay. You got you sit on a legal Chinese cam or something?
I am your host, Skelverine.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
Well,
Might as well be done.
moving on. Moving on.
Nice.
And with me, as always, my co-host.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
I'll wait for that flashback.
Okay, we'll have a third act flashback from Cassandra Nova.
Hey,
That's going on.
good to
mate.
be here. I am well, and yourself?
Oh, good. I'm pretty pumped to talk about this, actually. So pumped I forgot to put this on. All right. We'll get to that in a minute. So, we have a guest.
I suggest you reconsider.
No reconsiders here. We have a guest, Nicholas Meredith, longtime ex-goon. How's it going, Nick?
Happy to be here. I do have one request. Cassandra, please keep your fingers out of my head.
I haven't watched them in a while.
All right.
Definitely keep them out of my head then.
Yeah, it's a novel way to do her abilities, which is kind of fun.
Yes.
What do you guys like? White eyes or no white eyes?
White ice is way cooler.
Just can't tell
we're
who
looking at words.
you're looking at.
It'd be nice. Maybe now we'll finally get a Batman with white eyes the way we should. He never ever do we get white eyed Batman. Only if there's like some little thing they got to do where he has to use some ability. But it'd be nice to have a whole costume with just the white eyes. It looks cool. This movie can prove it can be done.
This movie proves a lot of things can be.
Blowjob handles and all.
Yeah.
Well, let's catch up on old times.
What you think they're doing up there?
Oh, we're going to see what they're doing up there, but I should say this is our Deadpool and Wolverine 2024 review. So, go watch the movie. Spoilers are going to be...
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you probably shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah, exactly. What are they doing up there, Nick? What do you think they're doing up there?
They being the MCU or they being just X-Men?
You, actually.
What are you doing up there?
I'm pumped, excited. I think this movie is great. Love to talk about all the stuff that just showed up. They managed to cram a lot of MCU and a lot of Marvel into it, so it's exciting.
Oh, there's a lot of fan service in this movie.
Yes.
It is mostly it's like fan service of the movie more than anything.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that every
Yeah,
time.
so was I actually. I'm gonna give you a spoiler. This is my Letterboxd review. So I am on Letterboxd. If you Uber Dre is my name. If you're on there to follow the movies I follow, and if you want,
He's an Uber driver when he's not here.
Actually, I came up with that long before Uber was the thing. So let me see here. I said, aside from a little bit of manufactured drama, I don't think the film needed it. I adored it. A love letter to the Fox MCU and to the Isle of Misfits toys made up of the old properties long abandoned. It's a real exploration of guilt, redemption, and finding your place. There were many fan service moments, and I was happy about each and every one of them. So it was great. It was fantastic. It was like every little thing. I figured Davin would love this movie for a lot of reasons, and I figured he would hate the one part he did for an obvious reason. But
we'll talk about that, but not right now.
Oh yeah, we won't. But yeah, you're wrong. I think. But we'll
I'm not wrong.
Oh yes, you are. But we'll get to that. So yeah, it's pretty great. Almost everything that everybody kind of wanted to see that never got to see in the Marvel, the X-Men universe that Fox made and all that other stuff we got. So and
some things we didn't know we wanted to see.
Well, one that almost was. I mean, I know what you're referring to, and that was supposed to be a thing, but just never happened.
Well, that's might not.
It was very much supposed to be a
that, but I
thing.
am now.
Okay.
But what they doing down there? You're down there in Florida, aren't you, Nick?
Florida.
I think I'm the most southern guest you guys have because the other Florida guest is from Orlando, and I'm a little bit south end.
Allison Seeley Smith joined us from Barbados. Is that more south than you?
I mean, I'm speaking in
American terms.
Yeah, only continental.
I was going to say America, and then I realized you guys are not in America, so I had to.
We are not
modify.
North America.
Yes,
America.
the continent.
I guess
The
we
north
are. I
part.
guess I would be the furthest north. I guess, unless someone from BC called in further north. But
I never realized that you could just stick an "and" in there, North and America, and that pretty much describes the continent well.
kind of.
Well,
does.
no, and if you don't talk about Mexico, I suppose.
We don't.
It's pronounced Mexico.
Mexico, my bad.
Thank you.
But I'm glad you could join us. I feel like you've been with us pretty much from the beginning.
I was
gotten us pretty early.
Andre, I was telling David, I remember the first episode, and you didn't know how to pronounce his name, and he had to correct you.
I still don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Draven. Is an R in there, right? Draven.
Yep.
Drebin. Oh, it's like
pure as the Draven Snow is my nickname.
Draven Snow. Well, thankfully I caught on. It's been a while. But, just like in Nick's presence here is proving that if you listen to our show, eventually you'll be on it. So,
also great credit to Nick. He's one of the few guys and definitely the first person who took the time, a couple of minutes to review us.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did. Well,
Yes,
that is actually worthy of being on the show. So,
And other than Jamil,
I assume it was a positive review.
it was a positive review.
Davin's like he shit all over us. He was vicious. He went right for the gut, made fun of.
But he
our
took the
appearance.
time. He took
That's
the
true.
time.
He did take the time.
I'm here so you guys can shit back on me. That's it. I was
Okay,
perfect.
no time. I better read this review.
Well, anything could happen.
It's funny how much effort people will put into saying how much they dislike something. They won't put nearly as much effort into saying how much they like something.
Oh,
You
of
ever notice
course.
that? It's wild. It's wild.
Unless you're on Letterboxd.
It's true. Although I don't give I give bad reviews if I don't like the movie. Davin thinks that I'm way too forgiving of certain movies, but I think he's way too critical.
Certain of these X-Men movies you have been for sure.
Nah,
But
I think my expectations are
I
in
want to
check.
adjust some of mine now. I feel like we might have a new
No, you can't. Dude, stop fucking with the rating system. You have to rate the movie on where it was when you watched it.
Yeah,
That's it. You
it
can't go
just
back
feels
and
a
say,
little
"Watch the
different
movie, I
now
like
though, because
better."
before it was like this whole Fox. It was just strictly a Fox paradigm, and now that there's this fusion of MCU and the things that they do well, it's like it's a little bit different now. It's a little bit like
if you gave
like
last
those-
one a
they
10, you give
feel
this one a
different.
10, and you walk away happy. That's how it goes.
Especially the Deadpool movies, they just seem a little different now to me. I don't know.
No, dude, that's so ridiculous. You think
They're
Ethan
so great.
Roper goes back and like puts out a new review years later when they do a sequel to another movie? Like it's no. Keep it the same. Keep this one a 10 if you like it.
I'm not saying I'm going to adjust it. I'm
You
just saying-
did say you were going to adjust it when you talked to me on social media.
Well,
So you are not, sir. I'm trying to keep some small modicum of
Credibility.
journalistic integrity here on this show.
What
it better
about
be you. It's not going to be me.
what if you watched them out of order for some reason? Like you watched Deadpool 2, you didn't understand, you gave a low rating. Then you went
Well,
back, you watched Deadpool 1, and then you watched Deadpool again, you understood it way better. Can you change the rating then?
No, because you shouldn't have done it that way. Like that's your own fault for doing it that way. But number two, like you should also try to like judge it as a movie as a whole, not just as it in comparison to the other movies. Because you got to judge this thing for what it is. This is a self-contained thing. Sure, it calls back to the old thing, but on its own, you need to judge it for that. So, there's that. And if you liked the other stuff, then you're going to like the references. Like it'll all work through. But yeah, watch it in order, you weirdos. Who's doing that? What kind of psychopath is doing that?
Some people read
Some
the last
lunatic-
page of a book first.
Some
And,
lunatic. Oh, those people are crazy. I read the last.
I think they're
sentence,
crazy
but that's
too,
about
but
it.
they do it. There's more than one of those people. There's a whole community of those people.
I actually read the last sentence, and I don't know why. I
did
started
that
as a
too.
kid.
What? You
why.
are one of those people.
Not the
Just the
whole
last
page.
sentence.
The last
No,
sentence.
not the whole page. Jeez, that's crazy. Last sentence.
Even the last sentence is crazy. You don't know
No.
how crucial that's going to be.
That's not fair. I don't do that anymore. I used to when I was a kid. I don't do it anymore.
Well, I'm glad you grew out of that. That's
Yes.
a nightmare.
But I don't know why. It was probably in my teenage angsty way. I thought it made me different and cool. But now that
I'll show these books.
Yeah, yeah, that'll make me stand out. And then girls will like me.
At least you got the angsty part.
Yeah, well, that just became. I think that just became a little more intellectual because I just understood the world more and then had a more of a reason to dislike it. Parts of it, anyway.
Well, we should probably get into this movie. But before we move on, I will say one more credit to you, Nick. I think, other than Jameel, because he was listening right away and he's in our podcast federation, I think you were the first person to reach out to me and let me know somebody was listening.
Oh, that's sweet.
That might have been you. So
awesome.
It was good to know.
I'm happy to help. I had that Canada connection. My son lived in Hamilton for a bit, so I was like, "Oh, Canada, cool."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. We'll accept Hamilton.
It's Ontario, but we'll take it.
And it doesn't smell particularly good.
I don't think I've ever been to Hamilton, Ontario.
I drove past it, and I was driving down the highway toward Cousin Dave's in Burlington, and I was just like halfway down that highway, it really started to stink. Was that Hamilton? And he's just like, yes.
I just realized how bright this can looks in our feed.
Sorry, Hamilton listeners.
I'm going to see if I can get some aha money if I just hold it up, while the entire time.
Aha. It's going to be like a sound effect.
Yeah, whenever we see something go, aha, and pop it up.
Exactly.
And be like, refreshing. No, I'm just kidding.
It's very comic booky.
That's true.
I like it.
All right, you want to jump into this? Well, this isn't. I usually follow this one isn't going to be as detailed. I mean, I'll try. I mean,
I don't think it should be though.
No, it's fine. I mean, we got to go.
It
should be. Yeah, it's fresh to us, but we try to go.
Everyone has seen it
and talk about all the stuff in it. There's a lot of clips leaked online. I tried to see if I could find like a leak of the whole thing, even if it was just like a cam or something, just so I could follow it. But that'll have to do with the limited resources I have, unfortunately. But
I'll help you if I can. I saw it more recently than you.
No, I saw it on Friday. It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
It was pretty soon. Do you see it on Friday?
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Thursday.
There you go. Ah, well.
Call yourself fans. 3
Well,
p.m. Thursday.
We're posers over here at X-Rated, the X-Men anime.
The town I live in, I think the last screening was at 7, and I had work, and then I had to I host a vinyl night on Thursdays where we listen to vinyl at a bar, so I had to do that, and then me and my wife went to PEI the next day. But I didn't see it like noon on PEI the next day because we had a bunch of time to kill before the friends we were staying with were home. So, we had lots of time. We both really enjoyed it, actually. Solid movie. All right. Well, movie begins in 2018. Well, actually, first it starts off as we get one of Davin's favorite plot devices in films, which is flashbacks. We begin with Deadpool sitting beside the grave of Wolverine, essentially from Logan. What are you doing, Davin? I'm trying to make white eyes. Just messing around. So Davin won't be able to see you for the rest of the event, but he'll look goddamn cool. Not quite.
Tell me how cool this looks.
Not at all.
It actually shifted.
Actually, it kind of yeah. There you go. You shifted the mask. Okay,
there you go.
It sort of makes him look sad. Yeah, it's not so bad now. It's actually better, but it's still odd. It's weird.
Act like you can't see though. You got to pretend like you can see.
Yeah, you got to full Daredevil it. Oh no, he's gone far the other way. All right. So
where's the shot?
We get Deadpool believing and telling us that Logan couldn't have died because his healing factory must still be alive. So he uses the shovel and digs up the body, and then is horrified to realize that Logan is in fact dead, and he's sitting beside the adamantium skeleton with a little bit of flesh still on it, on a bench, talking to how he's got to figure out how to bring him back to life to get what he needs to get. We all aren't in on what this is all about yet.
Technically, that Logan should have bone claws. It's been disintegrated. Yeah.
What do you mean?
At the end of that movie, he has bone claws.
No, he doesn't.
Oh no! Wait, no. That was the big.
That was the Wolverine
made between the Wolverine
and then it was undone
Logan.
Between. I guess it was undone due to Days of Future Past. I guess
so.
But no, he definitely had adamantium.
Yeah, you're right.
So then while he's kind of maligning his fate and trying to figure out how he's going to find a living Wolverine, a bunch of members of the TVA, as we know from Loki, show up, and he has a massive fight using pieces of the Logan skeleton. It's pretty great how they really just leaned into how sad his death was, and then they sort of like end it with this insane comedy bit of him fighting with Logan Skeleton using small pieces of adamantium from his bones to kill in alarmingly fun ways all of these different TVA agents.
I love this scene.
Femur, he's using the claws, he's using the rib bones, the teeth, everything he can get. He's killing everybody with them. In fact, there's one scene where he grabs, it's like the shin bone and hits a guy in the nuts, and then it's like it looks like he's jerking him off because of the way
that was the 207th bone.
Yeah,
hey man, it kept getting me. I laughed every single time they would focus in on him doing like a Backstreet Boys move. Every time it made me laugh. I was like, why is this still making me laugh? But it was so good.
It was to the NSYNC song "Bye Bye Bye," which he's doing the dance for the video and everything. He's really good. He's a good dancer.
There's a video night now that shows the guy who did the dance, like doing it professionally and then doing it as Deadpool, because it wasn't Ryan Reynolds, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't Ryan Reynolds in that Deadpool suit doing that dance?
No, it was. I forget the guy's name.
They just got an NSYNC guy.
It was Justin Timberlake. He's just hanging out. That'd be hilarious if they did do that. That'd be a fun gag if they did do that.
Yeah,
well, I'm
definitely
sure
Ryan Reynolds kind of movie.
This movie already cost $200 million to make, so I'm guessing throwing.
You know what Chris Evans is doing to the budget?
Yeah, that was so. I fully expect that twist. I fully expected, but it was pretty great still. So we discover getting a flashback after he kills everybody. He takes off using a TVA device that after he stole Cable's time traveling device, somehow it allows him to travel between universes as well as time, which was something that was not elaborated on previously, which allowed him to come to the Earth 616, the timeline of the original Avengers films, in which he tries to audition to be in the Avengers. And he has an audition with Happy Hogan, but it's turned down, mostly because he says that he needs this to prove to his girlfriend that he wants something bigger than himself, or he can work towards something bigger than himself. And Happy says that the Avengers aren't the Avengers because they need it; they're the Avengers because we need them. So and there's a distinction, and it's a nice little bit. Deadpool makes a lot of
he says like you're an Avenger. He's like Avengers adjacent,
right? Yeah, and then he says, "Aren't you like the chauffeur?" And then he's like, and then after that, he's trying to usher him out. He's like, "Can you bring the car around?" He just keeps kind of needling him. It's a nice little moment with Happy Hogan, and I'm guessing this would have been before the death of Iron Man and everything, because the way they worded it's because it was 8 years ago, I think.
This was pre-snap.
6 years ago, so pre all that stuff.
Post Civil War, pre-snap.
My biggest issue with this movie, and it's very minor, I've already told Daphne about it, is this sort of, I don't think they needed to cause a rift between Vanessa and Deadpool. Like, I think the last two movies established that she was with him regardless, like ride or die. Even after he got fucked up because of what happened to him when he became Deadpool and all scarred, she was all in on him still. The second one, all in on him still. This one, he's like loses a bit of, thinks he has no place and loses a bit of himself because he wasn't worthy enough to join the Avengers, and because of that she leaves him and they break up. It just seemed very, it didn't seem
I think she broke up with him before he tried to join the Avengers, and he was trying to join the Avengers because she broke up with him.
I think she broke up with him because her life is in danger, like he's an assassin, or she died essentially because she was with him,
but he undid it with time travel.
Well, I was
kind of my only nitpick too. Well, not my only nitpick, but
because Andre,
it's a very minor nitpick,
right? Or you would mention in loves, like there's always you get the love, then the next movie you lose the love.
This one they kind of kept it going,
lost it in a different way. I think, like a new kind of loss.
Yeah,
all of a sudden she's all about heroics, and she's like, you should use your powers to be a hero, and that's like a game breaker for me, is kind of where she's coming from. So like my biggest nitpick with this movie, other than the one we'll talk about later, is her just sort of drastic character change. Like she was always just a gray area, or
I just don't think
morally gray kind of character, and all of a sudden she's all about being a big damn hero, which is fine, but they just didn't show where that happened.
It's such a minor part. Like I just don't know why they needed it. Like him fighting to save his world is enough motivation. Like that's enough for me. All of his friends, and he even says it, like, this is what I'm fighting for. That was
the best part. Yeah,
that's enough. You don't need to have that other part in there. But anyway,
I agree with you.
I just don't think it needed it. I would have been happier that they were still in love and everything was great, and he was just trying to keep his timeline. Maybe she's pregnant and he's worried about that, and that could have been the drama that he's going to be in or something, right?
They're super in love, so he wants to save the universe even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all you need.
So anyway,
Agreed.
because he's rejected, he seems to lose his confidence. And then because him and Vanessa are broken up. So in his timeline, 6 years later, after all this, he's retired from being a mercenary. And I don't think it was because she wanted him to retire from being a mercenary, because he was, and she still wasn't there. Like, he'd retired for like 6 years, and he's just working as a used car salesman with Peter, who I didn't realize is supposed to be, according to how he's listed on
Pete Wisdom.
I didn't know he was Pete Wisdom.
Yeah,
I didn't put two and two together until I just saw
I didn't
that.
realize that either.
Which is a very obscure X-Men character to make that character. I just thought he's a guy called Pete.
A very strange take on it.
Yeah.
Nothing he did was Pete Wisdom.
Pete Wisdom-y. No.
Never showed any
He's not even British.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, he works with Pete, and they work at a used car lot. Pete just seems to keep Deadpool's costume in his locker for like when he needs to suit up again, something Deadpool has no interest in doing. We also see that Deadpool staples a wig to his head to pass as a regular person and just looks really weird.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Oh, they fucking know. When he's left. Yeah. Actually, this version of Wolverine I really, really enjoyed, because he was kind of funny, kind of grouchy, not too serious, but not. I mean, he was pretty serious, but like in a fun way. Like more like what we're seeing in the MCU in the X-Men 97 cartoon, like kind of fun.
I know we're all Jackman fans, some of us more than others.
Yeah, totally. I've never said I was like the world's biggest Jackman fan, but I really liked him.
No, I mean in this role.
Oh,
but like,
no, I never said that he's my like ultimately best person that could possibly be Wolverine, but I think he did a pretty good job with it. I'm happy with him.
I like what he did here. Like, it took us 20 years to get here, but he finally looked and acted like Wolverine.
Well,
like
you have to understand it's not his fault. He's doing what the script
I'm not
tells
blaming
him.
anybody, but I'm just saying it took 20 years to get here. And, he's adapted his portrayal as it's gone. And I just think it's finally matured to the point. And, Logan was a whole different thing. Like, it was like...
Yes, it was.
They weren't really trying to act like their characters. It was awesome. He nailed it. Like, in the end, I found very emotional. Like, with him and Deadpool and, like, saving the day. It was all very well done.
No, don't give spoilers. We're not done yet.
All right. Well, they knew they were going to save the day.
What? They don't know that. It could have been a big tie-in to Robert Downey Jr.'s reveal as Dr. Doom.
We'll talk about that later, too. Look, I got my Iron Dune action figure.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's all about parallel universes now. I mean, we just brought Wolverine back after that, and it was fine. So who knows? I'm sure it'll be fine.
I have some theories. We'll talk about that later.
We don't.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So... Anywho, he's having a birthday party for him. Vanessa's there. All of his friends are there. Colossus, Dopinder, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Yukio. Wait, no. What's her name?
Yukio, yeah.
Yes, Yukio.
So funny, like later on, too, when he like swears or something. He's just like, I'm
so sorry,
Yukio.
Yeah, she's just like, it's okay.
Yeah,
I love their relationship.
Explain why Shatterstar is there.
He did say at one point that he did use time travel to bring some people back to life. So I'm guessing Shatterstar was one of them.
Why Shatterstar? Like, he hated him in the audition. They had no connection with him. Like, out of all the X-Force people, why Shatterstar?
Not Zeitgeist.
They needed one other person to sit there, and they thought that guy would be probably
no Vanisher.
Right? Yeah. No Bedlam. No Domino would have been better. Like,
Domino
has like game breaking powers though. It's like Franklin Richards.
Well, even just for that appearance,
some
like
people
at a party.
Yeah,
even Cable could have been at the party. Like,
it
was probably budgetary. Because
why not take her with you? If you're you don't want the girl with luck powers if you're going to save the univerce. Then all
fair enough. Well, actually, he didn't have a chance because he was because as we get here,
true.
There's a knock at the door, and then he is basically sees all the time variance people and think they are strippers hired by Dopinder for him, I think he said, or Peter, and he's ready to go down the hall and get into it with them, but then he realized they start to attack him, and he gets in a bit of a fight, but then they manage to pull him through a time door. And then we find him at the Time Variance Authority. You know what I was kind of waiting for, just because I thought it'd be fun, but it never happened. But it would have been great. Is if you saw Doc and
Mobius.
If you saw Doc and Marty in the background somewhere. If they just got Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox to do like a little cameo, that would have been so good.
They kind of hint in it because they play a Huey Lewis song at one point. That
right.
Like, when I hear Huey Lewis, that's all I think about is Back to the Future.
Well, The Power of Love was the song from the second one, I think, or the second one. Or was it the first?
I think they replayed in this one too.
Yeah,
good soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's a great soundtrack.
Yeah. So then we meet Mr. Paradox, played by the delightful English actor from what's that show that everybody loves that I haven't yet watched? Succession. Matthew McFadden, and he's great in this. He plays a really good. I don't know the British villain. There's two of them in this one, and they're just
the best.
They just drip with evil. It's that accent. I don't know. It's all really good. So
there's history of British villains in the real world. So.
What do you mean? Colonialism? That's never.
Did you guys notice the TVA? The difference in this one, like they didn't have their numbers. They wore visors. Like they were almost intentionally trying to be like black TVA or like deceptive TVA. Like they weren't they weren't Loki with just helmets on. Like it made it's pretty clear that like
it was Section 31.
Yeah, they're off grid. They're not reporting.
Yes.
So he basically explains that they're offering him a place on Earth, the proper Earth 616, where he gets to be the hero he's always wanted to be, join the Avengers, do the whole thing.
Paradox sort of admits he's going rogue right off the start, though. Yeah. Like he's never really hides that fact if you pay attention. He's just sort of like telling them that he's doing this. He's just like, I'm personally sick of letting these things die gradually. So like,
well, that comes a bit later. We're not quite there yet, but so first he offers Wade all of this stuff in the regular universe, and he even shows Wade some clips of like the Avengers and the universe he's going to join, and then Wade sees like a clip on one of the TVs of him dying with Thor holding him, and then he's like, wait, what's going on with me and Thor there? And he's like, oh, we'll get to that later, and he like, which is funny because I really wonder if Secret Wars, whatever they're going to do, if that scene will play into it somehow. It'd be really funny if it does, but we'll see. Because they come back to it a few times, right, and it doesn't get addressed. So I'm thinking that might be a subtle nod to what they're going to do with that.
It's just like, I do know Thor. He holds me.
And he keeps bringing it up. He's like, Thor holds me, and then he's like, what was that stuff with Thor again? It never gets answered. So I'm thinking maybe he wasn't dying, but he was all beat up and he looked like he was dying.
Wasn't it the same scene from Deadpool 2 with Loki?
Yes, it looked like it was. So it may not be. It may just be a fun nod. And I think there was a commercial where they actually like did something like this. So they reused that scene. So it might be. I'm not sure.
I hope
yeah, it'd be fun if it does come back around full circle in like one of those movies. But also, I don't know. I'm happy with Deadpool to have a happy ending, but who knows?
Like Thor won't know about his healing factor, so Deadpool will be like acting like he's dying just so Thor will hold him, and then of course he won't die.
So then, Deadpool's overjoyed, and he gets sent off to get an upgrade. Now, one thing I have to say for his costume, and he gets this beautiful new costume, which is like his old one, but this costume looks much better.
Yeah, he's got the belt buckle.
Well, it's like it's so much brighter, and it's so like, and it's not so dingy, and like I don't know. This costume was perfect. I really loved how it looked. It was such an MCU version of his costume too, but it was really nice. Yeah. I really liked it.
The eyes are bigger. The Deadpool belt buckle.
This old guy with a mustache that's giving him his new costume, and we see all these buckles and straps go on. And as it's going, you see a hand just slap him in the ass, but the hand slaps him in the ass and like grabs his balls and tugs at other things as it slaps him in the ass like 8 times as each new piece goes on the costume. And at the end, he walks back out to Paradox in the new costume, and he says, "Your tailor may be a predator, but by God,
maybe maybe your tailor is a predator.
Oh, it's definitely a predator, but he does great work."
Yeah. They have
the little squeak noise every time. It's like squeak. Just kept slapping his ass a little. It's so good. So this is where we reveal what Paradox's whole deal is that in the main timeline.
It's just like, can I just like interrupt for a second? It's just very hilarious to me that the funniest thing for me about that gag is that the TVA, this crazy organization of time jumpers, just have this like super creepy tailor on staff.
Just like kindly old little tailor with a mustache.
But who like predates on people.
They're all pretty creepy.
True. It is a messed up organization.
The guy with the mug that he jumps onto.
Oh, well, I was going to explain that, but this division obviously is some kind of a different, like he's playing fairly off the grid, so perhaps he has people surrounding him that are the most savory of characters. But he might be. But so there's a guy that's like they're on like a thing above all the people working in the pit kind of thing, and there's a guy looking up at him, and Deadpool mentions like this guy's really into it, and he goes, and then the guy, and he's like, he makes a few jokes about this guy being into him. And then he's like, what? And the guy picks up the phone. He's like, what are you calling your wife to see if it's okay for the throuple that's coming? And he's like, no, I'm calling HR. And he's like, your wife works in HR? But and then of course it plays full circle. We realize the guy is a little in love with him, which is funny. So, but this is where we reveal what's going on. Paradox says that they've discovered they used to prune timelines. They don't do that anymore because of Loki. They just managed to keep them in check when required, which is nice that they're still there doing that. Yeah, it would have been fun to have Loki or at least Mobius in it, but
I thought for sure Mobius would show up.
There were a lot of things you said are definitely going to happen in this movie that did not happen in this
what?
Daniel Radcliffe as a Wolverine variant.
Oh, I thought for sure we were going to get that.
I looked extra at Patch because
we got one of them.
Yeah,
I thought for sure we'd get.
But you didn't say anything. I don't think you said anything about that particular one. But anyway,
no, I put my money on Radcliffe because I thought they would want to do a real life short person, but instead they went a different route. And we'll talk about that later.
Okay, so we discovered that Wade's particular universe has they've discovered what they call anchor beings that the universe's whole, which is insane, that the universe's whole existence is based on one person. If that person dies, the universe will eventually start to degrade and eventually end.
That's a fourth wall joke. That's a fourth wall break there because Wolverine's the anchor being of the Fox universe because they threw all their eggs in that basket, right?
Yeah,
so it's just funny, like knock at Fox. It's like, of course, he's their anchor being.
Deadpool thinks it's him, and then he's laughed at by Paradox. Saying no, it was Wolverine.
Yeah. Like no, it was Wolverine for like 10 movies. Dumb.
And when they show his heroic sacrifice, you see everybody at the TVA watching it on the screen, and they're all touched. But like his noble sacrifice, like even the guy with the phone
who's obsessed with Deadpool's ass, and he like
even he's sort of like sad about it. Like
Deadpool keeps catching him looking at him, but he's just like,
yeah. But he explains that so Deadpool's universe will end in about 1,000 years, give or take a few thousand years, because that's how it works. But
it's a good run.
So they say they're sending him off to the new universe, but he says he's not happy to see universes slowly die. He wants to be more efficient about it and uses a device called the Time Ripper, which will basically mercy kill a universe and not let it slowly die.
That just goes full villain and gives his whole plan away.
Which seems like, why not just let it, like, what does it benefit you to have this go this way? But I guess
that's what I didn't get. He's just kind of like, it's their version of paperwork, I guess. And it just,
I suppose so. Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting, is that he clears up the bureaucracy that it's just done. He doesn't worry about it anymore. So this, of course, is when he says, but you get to go on and join the big Marvel universe and be a star player in that world, in this old world that you don't really have much tying you to anymore, will be gone. And he just says, okay. And he goes, okay, so you're in? He goes, no, I'm going to have to, like, like, I love this section because there's not even a second where he entertains it. He's like, all right. And then he's like, all right, so you're on board. We'll send you off the universe. He goes, oh no, I'm going to have to like kill everyone here or whatever. And then like he steals his TVA time device, jumps out ass first towards the guy that's staring at him the whole time, goes to the time door, and is gone. So after he steals the tempad from Paradox, he goes off. And now we discover his plan, which is what happened when he went to to Wolverine's corpse, is to try to find a living Wolverine to bring back to his timeline to create the anchor, to take the place of the anchor being and allow the timeline to continue to live and not degrade. So this is where we had some fun stuff in which he runs into various versions of Logan. And this is where a lot of fan service comes, because you get a lot of versions of Wolverine.
And fan disservice.
From the comics that you'll never see. Okay, let's include it with the first one he gives, which is Davin's been talking about and is so eager to talk about the whole time.
Is that the first one?
Yes,
is that the first one?
Yes, it is. He runs in. Wolverine's right there at a bar.
This was a very cynical joke, in my opinion.
Only if you care this much about the fact he's short.
No, because the reasons they do him. I say, okay, go. Where are we? Where's our? We got a segment for this.
Oh Jesus, Davin, let's not be here all night.
We disagree.
Yeah, look, what we got? Oh no, where are we at? Here's one. We'll use this one. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Let's try this one.
You must believe me. I'm not going mad.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. It's time for some X-ranting. So there's a real cynical take. They should have got a short actor, even somebody who you don't want to necessarily have as Wolverine in the end, like a Daniel Radcliffe as the short version of Wolverine. Yes, in this montage of different Wolverines, they have to do a short one, but don't do it cynically. Actually show us what a 5'3" to 5 whatever actor looks like as Wolverine, rather than a shrunken down like freaking Martin Short in the movie Clifford looking thing, because it just looks stupid and ridiculous. And they made him like 4 feet tall instead of 5'3". Like, don't give us that. That doesn't do anything. It wasn't really funny, and it didn't show us. It didn't give us that friggin' comparison. Like, that's what they did with the Cavill, which is coming up. I know, spoiler, but they're just like, here's what that. You guys want to know what that looks like? Here's what it looks like. They didn't do a cynical take there. Give us just a short actor playing Wolverine.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's all I'm saying. Like, to me, it was just cynical and not funny, and it's their excuse to never cast a short Wolverine.
Davin,
it's ridiculous.
It was very funny. It was very funny, and the only reason you don't like it is because yes, it was. And the only reason you don't like it is because
I think they had to do it though, because if they just put Daniel Radcliffe, it wouldn't register immediately that it's a short Wolverine. But if they took Hugh Jackman,
I think it would.
Well, this is the thing too. This is why I find it so funny that Davin's taking such offense to this. Isn't necessarily them saying here's a short Wolverine, like a life-size Wolverine. It's literally just a mini Wolverine. Like, it's not them saying this is what it would look like if we did an actual size Wolverine.
But that is what Deadpool said in that very scene. He's just like, here's that short Wolverine you all wanted. He says something along those lines.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did. And it was a very cynical
I don't think he did he?
Yes, he did.
This is a comic accurate Wolverine.
Yeah, he says, there's your comic accurate Wolverine. I'm just like, no, it's not. That's not funny and cynical. I would almost draw. I'm not going to do it, but I'd almost docked this movie a point in the ratings for that one joke.
Well, I could care less. I don't care if he's tall or short, so I was fine with it. It's only like that. Yeah, exactly, and like that's what I mean. It's just like a one-off gag, and Davin's taking it like as an attack on him personally.
Well, but it was also their not one chance necessarily, but it was their perfect chance to just showcase a short actor as Wolverine and see what people thought.
What actor would it be?
That? I don't know. Do Daniel Radcliffe. I don't care. Like, that's not a great pick. He's
not
like
really.
5'5" or something.
Not 5'2" or whatever Wolverine's supposed to be.
Make it Elijah Wood. I don't care. Just make it somebody who's that short.
Danny DeVito.
Like, there are actors out there. Danny DeVito, sure. That would have been funny gag, actually, because he was rumored to play it when they were trying to make it in the 80s. He was going to play Wolverine.
Really? That would have been terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been terrible, but it would have been a funny gag in this movie.
Yeah, it would have been for the use that they did it.
Yeah.
Radcliffe is 5'4".
Yeah, perfect. Right? And he's a good actor. And if you see him in that movie Jungle, where he's like lost in the jungle and he's just getting like lean and sinewy and his beard's growing in because he's been lost in the jungle and emaciated.
Wolverine be thick
and like
not lean and sinewy?
He should be, but like,
why is that okay?
No one's.
Why is that?
No, I mean, because you can throw on Hollywood weight all the time. People do it. They can thicken him up.
No, but why is that not a sticking point? Why is it only the height for you?
Because they can thicken him up.
No, but if they don't, you didn't care about that until I just said it. If he was thin, you would have been fine with that because he was lean and sinewy in the jungle. You just want the height.
Like I said, I just wanted them to showcase like a short actor, not when you're
a heightist, sir,
for the role. No, it's just like his thickness isn't as important to the character. But I agree with you.
That's the thick actors out there that aren't getting roles, sir.
Well, I still think they should hire one. I think they should hire the short and thick actor, Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito is too short and fat, very fat.
Yeah, he is too short. He's like 4'11" or something. Yeah. He's pretty small.
He'd be the height of the Wolverine that you saw in this clip that you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it should have been DeVito. It would have been a way funnier joke.
Well, the thing is, though, the gag was the first universe he drops in on, he sees Hugh Jackman's face. That's what we see close up. And we're like, oh, there's another Wolverine, and then we see he's short. That's what makes it funny. It's not about the fact that it was a short actor, and if they would have had to change that joke or at least put it further down the timeline.
Honestly, even if they'd have just took friggin' 10 more hours and
but I think for the beats
more accurate and not so much of a gag, like just make
I think for the beats they did comedically for this whole sequence, it was well placed and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty funny. And obviously Deadpool is not known for being, is known for being sardonic and comedic. So when he says this is your comic accurate Wolverine, he's joking because he's obviously shorter than what Wolverine would be in the comics.
Right.
But I was okay with it. I knew Davin would dislike it, and I thought it was funny that when I watched this, I'm like, Davin's definitely going to hate this part because it draws attention to this thing that he's so passionate about. And then it was like, anyway, so
in a cynical way, mind you.
And if I recall correctly, this I think is when they used the "Power of Love" song. I think, isn't it? When he's going around finding all the various Wolverines.
That would make sense.
I think so. I know there's a big action scene to Madonna later.
The order might be out of place here because what's going on here, but the order might be out of sync of how this goes. But he meets the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine that's missing a hand, which it looks very cool. We also I love, my favorite one is the universe where it's the cover from was it Days of Future Past where he's on the big X.
Yeah, that's a Mark Silvestri cover. It's on my wall right now, isn't it? Oh no,
it's like there's a mountain of red skulls under him. It just looks so visual. Like he drops out and there's a mountain of red skulls under him, and he gets up and like it's just so cinematically beautiful. The big X crucifix is there. Wolverine's on it. He's just like looking up at it, and then he's just like Wolverine's just like looks in the sky. Yeah. Deadpool's like, we're gonna go another way.
He's like, we're going different directions.
We're going in a different direction. But like it looks so like Jesus, like epic death of this character on this cross, and he's just like, But
Deadpool is Marvel Jesus.
Deadpool does reference earlier when he thinks he's the anchor being that he's Marvel Jesus.
He never gives that up though, even when he knows he's not the Marvel being.
No, he does. He does keep going with that.
This will work. I'm Marvel Jesus.
We also see Patch. Him encounter Patch. We also see a version of Wolverine whose back is turned that's working on a motorcycle. We get the smash cut of him approaching each of them before they all basically fuck him up. Like he just sliced the shit out of all of them, beats the hell out of all of them. And all of them are played by Hugh Jackman except for one point, which I'll get to in a minute. But it's very cool. Like seeing all these different versions of him. Oh, and a very cool one where he appears and he goes, "Oh, this is what I'm talking about." Brown and tan costume, John Byrne.
John Byrne.
And then he's like,
and AOA Wolverine looked awesome too.
Oh yes, I just said that. I said it looked really cool. Yeah. I like he's just leaning against a wall, smoking a brick wall, and he just appears. He's like, "Hey, I need you." He just starts beating him. He just throws him out of car and just keeps slicing the shit out of him. But when he sees the John Byrne,
that brown costume looked amazing though.
It did look pretty cool. And he goes, "Wait," he goes, "Is this the appearance where you fight the Hulk?" And then you see Wolverine's claws come out, and you see the Hulk face just like the cover. And then he turns and sees the Hulk's right there, and picks him up and fucking hurls him into a big tree trunk. And he says, "Well, you can't do this on Marvel Jesus," and he just like throws him into.
Oh no, he tries to do that Yoki line. He's just like, I am Deadpool. You like, what does he call him? Mewling.
Oh
no, you ignorant creature. What he like?
You fucking just
I'm Deadpool, you ignorant creature.
So then we see all of the Deadpools fuck him up, or all the Wolverines fuck him up, and then we see the one working on the bike whose back was turned, turns, and it's Henry Cavill. Who and he like Wolverine or Deadpool says like cavalry, the legends are true, and he says like we'll treat you much better than those piece of shit did down the street. Yeah,
he looks like Frank Thierry Wolverine from.
Actually, I would be very happy with him as Wolverine. The voice sounded good, and he looked good. I'd be happy.
With like a lot of those Assad Rebic covers, they're really good covers.
I'd be happy with him. He looked fine. I thought it'd be cool. Whether that actually happens, probably not. But it was just a nice little fun thing. But I mean, I'm wondering how deep this is going to go because, like, we know that the Fantastic Four movie takes place in another universe in the '60s,
but they'll end up in the universe we are.
That's what I'm thinking. Is maybe at the end of Secret Wars, we'll get one universe that molds them all together, and we go forward with that.
It'll be like the Incursions, I figure, from like the newer Secret Wars. Like
but I don't want to
lose their universe to an Incursion or Galactus, and then they'll escape to the
I would kind of rather them. I'd rather them see them like the way the DC universe did it, where it's just like one cohesive universe now, instead of like us having to be like, well, this character's from this other universe. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do.
It's this multiverse saga thing. Once it's all over, it'll be all one universe. The Prime.
It's gonna be hard to go back after this.
Timeline.
Yeah, it'll be hard.
They keep referencing the sacred timeline, though.
Well, what they'll probably do is, have Dr. Doom or whoever, destroying all the timelines until we get down to one at the end of it, or they manage to save one. We'll see. Who knows?
He'll be saving them, not destroying them.
Dr. Doom?
Yeah.
No, he's going to be
the hero in Secret Wars in a way.
Yeah, but in the redo of Secret Wars, not in the original Secret Wars.
No, not in the original.
Well, maybe they're going to do that one.
They might.
Okay. So So we see him meet all these Deadpools, and then eventually, after being turned down by all of them, all these Wolverines, he runs into a universe where there's a Wolverine at a bar who's kind of drinking his sorrows away, and he tries to join him up. He doesn't want to. He's happy to drink himself to death because in this universe he did something bad apparently that everyone knows about. But Deadpool manages to pull him back through the portal, and does he knock him out first? They get in a fight.
He chugs the liquor and passes out.
That's right.
I didn't know Wolverine could do, but
he recovered pretty quickly. It's probably because of his healing factor. So he just
drinks rubbing alcohol in this movie.
A little later, yeah. But he says, Deadpool says, like, you're going to come with me. And he says, I'm not going anywhere with you. And he says, and then, the bartender calls Wolverine a piece of shit, basically. And he says, you're going to take that from him? And he goes, yep. And then he just drinks the whole bottle of booze and then passes out. And then Deadpool pulls him through back to the TVA with using the time pad.
And he notices the uniform, the yellow
underneath, yeah. Which is nice. That was cool to see too. And but then he's told by the TVA that any Logan won't do. They need their own Logan. And he picked the worst one in the multiverse. He says that this one let his team down, his whole world down, which I thought, when you find out what he did, it's not that bad. It's certainly not let the whole world down. But
no, it's not like what Xavier did in Logan or anything. Like
yeah,
that,
for sure.
You're expecting, right? But
yeah, I was expecting.
He just went out and got. Should I say it? No, I guess I'll say it.
No, we'll get to it later. Also, one of the Wolverines I forgot was the old man Logan Wolverine, which was fun too.
Oh right.
So, I forgot about that one. Yeah, the shotgun. Yeah,
that one would have been fun to recast.
Yeah, if they could have got Clint Eastwood or something.
I hate to say it because Clint Eastwood's kind of a turd.
Yeah,
in the real world, but the character was a bit based on him, so it would have been fun.
Actually, if this version of Wolverine was Old Man Logan and his backstory was as tragic as the Old Man Logan backstory, that would have made more sense to me than the way they went, which is fine because at least we got a younger, actiony Wolverine.
That is a guy who. Oh, look who we have here! It's who it is. It's Cousin Dave. What's up, Cousin Dave?
Hey there. I just thought I'd stop in.
Who's from Deadpool's original universe?
Come with me right now.
That's right. I am from the original universe because we shot Deadpool's original universe, the X-Men universe, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to follow in the movie what universe everyone's from, but
what's your cameo take on this movie, Cousin Dave?
My cameo take? Plenty of cameos. Lots of cameos. And
I mean, your appearance is a cameo. What's your take on this movie?
I like the movie. Okay, like the more I've had to think about the movie, I'm like, it doesn't make a lot of sense plot wise, but who cares? You know, it's fun.
It's fun and fun. There's no reason you can't just have fun with a movie.
What's your issue with the plot? Just if there is a particular.
I think in particular the TVA recruiting him to come over to Earth 616, and then giving him all the exposition, like Mr. Paradox explaining what he's going to do to him, like to his universe, right to his face.
I guess it's why Paradox wanted Deadpool, because the other TVA didn't want to. The rest of the TVA didn't want to recruit him. It's just Paradox on his rogue mission here.
Right.
I guess he considers Deadpool a good murderer and wants to murder timelines. Is that it? But I don't know.
So he was gonna send him off to the regular universe. He would have been just in the Avengers. If Deadpool had gone along with it, he would have just went to the Avengers universe, got to be an Avenger, and then his universe would have died quickly, and that would have been it. So I don't understand what the purpose of that was.
Yeah, they don't have to tell Deadpool what he doesn't have to explain his plot to Deadpool. So
no, not at all. I guess he was told.
He does though. He's like, here's my plan, Deadpool.
Well, I think his TVA plan was he was probably ordered by the TVA to put Deadpool in the regular timeline. The ripping apart of the previous timeline is the thing that he's gone rogue on. So I think he was doing his job, but then just gave Deadpool way more information they needed to.
Yeah, and it's all forgivable and everything. And the movie's super enjoyable. I came away, emotional at times with the movie. You know, even though a lot of these X-Men, Fox movies were not perfect movies by any means. You guys know that maybe better than most, having reviewed a lot of them.
To that point, the most emotion I have ever felt from Fox X-Men movies is the montage they do during the closing credits of this movie, showing the behind the scenes from those movies. I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little emotional. And then I thought to myself, None of those movies ever made me feel this way. Why do I care about the behind the scenes more than the movies themselves? But I do. But
I think it's partly just because Hugh Jackman in particular, I think, is so likable and charismatic, and he's just sort of, I don't know, like he's been doing this role. When I was podcasting with Eamon the other day, I was like, I've been watching him play Wolverine since before you were born, literally. You know, he's been doing this for so long. He's so good at it and dedicated to it. And I think the chemistry with him and Ryan Reynolds was so magic in this movie, long overdue.
Oh yeah.
I know they were technically in Origins together, but you know, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, the big final fight scene is those two.
Well, they had scenes before, but
they did. But
yeah, when they were before he got turned into the crazy and
before they sew his mouth shut.
Yeah. What an odd choice. Anyway.
Nothing in that end of that movie makes any sense. I was so cheering for that movie for the first hour.
Yeah, like, and I didn't really understand why he's broken up with Vanessa, and like, I think she's not in the movie enough, quite frankly, because I think that their relationship really works well in the first two movies, and it was, you know, really at the heart of it. So I was missing that a bit.
Maybe not enough Dopinder.
Yeah, I could use more Dopinder too.
Dopinder, where was what's her name? Domino. She wasn't in this.
Yeah, or Cable, or even the kid from the second one that he saved. He could have been one of the cameo people. Where's he at?
Yeah,
but Shatterstar,
does he not care? He doesn't care about him anymore.
It's been 6 years. He probably doesn't look like he did, you know. So
he abandoned him like everyone else. Damn Deadpool.
Yeah,
cool.
That'd be bad.
Cool.
He's gonna come back again because he's still sad.
He started off this movie by murdering a bunch of people, but that's the coldest thing he does in this movie, forgetting about that little kid.
Just left him behind.
Left him behind.
Like a son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch, Deadpool.
Yeah, but like all that's sort of like, I don't care, because it's, if you can do that in any Deadpool movie or any movie, it's Deadpool, I guess, because the rules don't matter as much for him. It feels like kind of like with She-Hulk, you can kind of, you know,
exactly
tap that.
She's
fourth
the original
wall,
Deadpool.
do your whatever you want. I feel like they're gonna have to do a sequel, because this movie, like the opening, I'm sure you guys have talked about it. It's huge. Yeah, it's like one of the big. No, not just the beginning of the movie. I mean, it's like the opening weekend.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like 205 million or something on the weekend was like the domestic box office. It's
set
like
all the R-rated records.
All the R-rated records. It's one of the top MCU movies ever. One of the top summer movies ever. July movies ever. You know, so it's
but it's also a starved year too. It's like the first year where they're not doing 3 Marvel movies. This is the only one.
True.
So people are like, let's get it into you. You know,
it's pretty great though. Of all the ones to do, I'm glad it's this one.
Right.
Me too.
The last time we talked Marvel on the Mary Mater Marvel Society was
you did it
was Echo, and that was in January. Yeah. Right. So it's been a drought here for a while. We haven't really had anything come out. So
well, there was a season of What If, I think, dropped.
That came out at the end of last year. That
was after. Was that before or after Echo?
It's almost like within a week of each other. It's like very close that those two came out at the same time. So anyway, I can't stay for long. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I have to head over to the Star Trek The Next Generation review.
Enjoy Haven.
In Haven, we're going to talk.
You know what they say? One person's haven is another's hell, and that's what you're going to find.
That's what they say. We're going to talk some Luxana Troy over there on the Live Long and Podcast channel if anyone wants to go check that out. But of course, stay and watch X Rated first.
That's right. Yeah.
Don't forget to log in my not favorable rating.
Oh no! Don't change the channel. Stay right here. Okay. Yeah. See you guys.
Our viewership goes all the way. Everyone leaves and goes to the Star Trek show. Damn you, Dave!
They're talking about Haven. Let's go.
Let's go.
Season 1.
Not the show. The episode of TNG. Don't get excited.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good luck. Right. And nice to see you, Nick. And good luck with the rest of the podcast.
Have fun over there on Trek.
Awesome, Dave.
So keep some good points about the plot there.
Yeah, it seemed like the same. You felt the same.
So, Deadpool obviously is trying to reason with Paradox, or at least intimidate him. Paradox uses one of the sticks to prune Wolverine and Deadpool from the timeline, dropping them into the void, the same one we know about from Loki.
The scariest weapons to fight, though, even when you are Deadpool, they're coming at you with those like erase you from time weapons, and all you have to do is slip, and you're like erased from time forever.
Well, you can fight your way back out. Loki made it out, so you know.
Do you think they ever race themselves by accident, like in training?
Definitely.
That's another one.
I think that's like a 50% thing. They probably lose half their agents that way.
So Deadpool makes some obvious comparisons to Fury Road, Mad Max stuff. And there's a very obvious connection to Furiosa in this, which I thought was really funny.
He says it flat out. He says,
I know, but even like the Sabretooth, what he's driving is the exact same thing that Chris Hemsworth character is driving in Furiosa. It's like
one of the things is the Fantastic Car too, and that's super cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they basically are greeted by a character with a covered face who is sort of talking to them. Wade mentions that the budget's just gone up and that this guy's like the best. He's going to be there to help them. His face is covered, so you don't really see it. But he comes down and he's sort of going to interact with them a bit before all the villains start showing up, which are kind of a bunch of people we recognize from older X-Men films. We see Sabretooth there, played by Tyler Mane again. We see, I think it must have been Ray Park as Toad, but he didn't do anything, really. We see... he hit
the button to do the magnet. That was his whole...
That is true.
Deal.
We see... I don't think we see him just yet, but we do see Pyro. Played by the same actor. We also see... a little later on, we see another version of Juggernaut wearing the same costume from X-Men 3. Not Vinnie Jones, but it's the same costume.
They approached him.
We also see someone I'm pretty sure is supposed to be the Russian character played by Kevin.
Yeah, it's
Nash.
the Russian from Punisher.
Yeah, but it's not the same actor. It's not Kevin Nash. So
no. Much smaller person.
I'm sure they could have got Kevin Nash.
They even added a beard to the guy, and Kevin Nash didn't have one.
Yeah, he's right. He didn't in that.
It is a funny note, though, like the Russian from the Punisher. That
is just walking around in the background.
Movie.
Yeah. So we meet a lot of them in a little bit when we go to the bad guy's stronghold. But at this point, the guy that's with them says, like, I'll take care of this. And then Deadpool is freaking out because he is waiting to hear Avengers Assemble. And then it's because we see his face and it is Chris Evans. And then he's like, I'll take care of these guys. And then Deadpool freaks out thinking that it's going to be Avengers Assemble, but then he says "Flame on," and he turns into Johnny Storm.
Just as epic a friggin'.
He's like, "What the fuck?"
The Avengers music though to tease too. Like they started playing, or Captain America's theme, one of the two, to make you think.
And then he's like, "What the fuck?" or "What the shit?" or something like that. And then he turns into the Human Torch and starts fighting with everybody. But then Pyro uses his powers to. First when they first got to the universe, Deadpool and Wolverine fought each other. Because Wolverine was upset that Deadpool got him into this. And they had a really great fight sequence.
They have a lot of good fights in this.
It ends with Wolverine having a bunch of swords stuck in him. But
you look ridiculous.
It's baby knife. When he stabs, every time he stabs him with the knife, he goes, baby knife. And then he's like, baby knife. When he stabs it, so it's a little knife. So anyway.
He had adamantium swords. That was one of his upgrades.
That was an upgrade. So yes, obviously that would allow him to fight Wolverine without having his swords cut in half every time they slice each other, which is a good choice to have in there earlier. Yeah. So then we see Johnny Storm gets taken down by Pyro, just absorbs all his flame because that's his ability.
Is there any comic that happened
in the comics? Johnny would waste Pyro.
Pyro's powers are a bit different in this world, and
he can't create flame. Johnny can. Like he's no Johnny Storm. He can do more things, I think, as far as like.
But this is also parallel universe versions of these characters, so
true
power levels could be different. Who knows?
Johnny Storm's like mad powerful in the comics. Get wasted.
Then Wolverine gets in a fight with Sabretooth, who is played by Tyler Mane again, and there's a fun little sequence where Deadpool's trying to get him.
A little bit of a letdown. I actually kind of wanted to see that fight, but well.
Basically, it's like an old samurai fight where they run by each other, and then Sabretooth's head comes off. And then Deadpool does a whole like I've killed your queen, Furiosa, holding up the Sabretooth's head. But they I think it's where Toad puts on the magnet, right? And captures them. Yeah.
Oh, look, we got another cameo. Our next cameo appearance. Oh, wait a minute. I know what you've brought us.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even forest bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes. Yes.
White Girl Interrupted was probably my favorite one of those.
Dave Cutler. Dave Dinston Dilson, I should say. The mook with a mouth.
How's it going?
How's it going, Dave?
How's everybody?
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Dave.
What wonderful magical comics are you working on today, Dave?
Yeah, Dave.
I'm working on something for a pitch project, so we'll see what happens with it. Yeah.
What character from Deadpool versus Wolverine are they giving their own series now because he's popular at the moment? That's on the nose too, because I can tell.
No. It's not. It's related to something that I know, but nothing that I'm involved with.
Oh my!
Well, we don't want the mouse to come after you, so don't worry.
No, we won't. We won't torture you for details, but we may torture you for fun.
Did you see the film, David?
I did see the film.
And what did you think of the film?
It's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very fun. On Letterboxd, my review was like, my parents would have a better chance of developing cult fusion as they would of understanding like 3 seconds of this thing. Because like some of the recent MCU movies, like they require you to have seen a few of the TV shows. But this, like, you have to have seen, to fully get everything, to enjoy the whole thing, you have to have seen the whole MCU. The Fox films, just about all of them are referenced in some way. And then you have to know the
Punisher movies, like everything. Like
you have to know like the background stuff. Like I bet your average person on the street is only dimly aware, or maybe not aware at all, that Fox was bought by Disney, or that Fox owned the X-Men, and then Disney can use them, blah, blah, blah. So all that stuff is like, it's very in the reads.
What I thought was funny was when they showed the montage at the end of like all the Fox movies, they showed a lot of the Fantastic Four movie, like the one with Miles Teller that nobody liked. Like I was like, there's a lot of that movie that nobody cared about. Like hardly anybody cared about.
None of them were in Deadpool.
And none of them were in this.
I'm going to be honest. I teared up during that little montage.
Yeah, it was nice. It's crazy. Especially when they showed like younger Ryan Reynolds talking about getting to play Deadpool and how it was always a dream of his to play him. You know,
one of the things I really liked about the movie was the giving the nods to the, I think you phrased it as the Island of Misfit Toys.
I did on my letterbox.
Yeah, I called it like Fox Studios, This Is Your Life. Like, do you recognize this voice from your past?
Yeah.
I like the nods to the unsung stuff, like seeing Jennifer Garner get to be Elektra again, and it was very sweet.
Even making a subtle nod about like her divorce from Ben Affleck.
Don't worry about it.
Where they say Daredevil got killed, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She's like, "It's fine." You know, like
she doesn't care. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's like all those movies, like a lot of them were bad, but I don't think any of them were.
But they were kind of a part of a lot of our growing up. Like even though they weren't great, we all grew up watching them, right? Like
they got us here or whatever. But they were all like sincere efforts. Even that Fantastic Four Fan Four Stick was a sincere effort on part of the.
I would have called Fan Four Stick from now on.
It all went to shit. But no, I was very
did.
Very moved by that. But if you remove all that, like I said, this is like the most spoilable movie of all time. So like if you're not getting like the like I don't know what you got here. It's gonna be pretty dull. But
even I was very impressed with all the like just the like we're never going to get an Age of Apocalypse movie, or if we are, maybe it's a million years from now. So even just to see a glimpse of that, and just like I think one of my favorite parts, even though it was so innocuous, was that the throwback to the Silvestri cover where he's on the thing. I thought it was so fucking funny. Just especially where they show him, he's like, oh, like he's just like
it should have been raining. Then it would have been the cover exactly.
It was like it was raining, and it was like he's on the sea of red skulls that are just everywhere.
Yeah,
and like the X is well lit with yellow. It was so cinematically gorgeous. And just like something epically horrible is happening, he's just walking into it. I thought it was so good.
The theater I was in was like big reactions for almost everything, like everything that popped up where you're supposed to react. But Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, dead silent, and like as soon as I see him, I'm like, oh my! So like the one voice in the theater, and Selena, who I went with, was like, shh,
don't enjoy this. Shut up. No, I dug it.
It's more embarrassing when you're the only
It actually made me want to see, like, not that I had much of an opinion before, but it made me want to see Henry Cavill as Wolverine now. I'm like, I can buy this. It was even lit that way. Like, it was like the, like, when it was super cool. But even like Cavill's Wolverine was fine. And like, he seemed cool. I'd buy him as Wolverine. I don't know.
Big.
I don't know.
Pardon?
He's very big.
Yeah,
that was my least favorite vignette of those. Like,
he's a thicker Wolverine, which is like the way he kind of should be.
Did you find the small Wolverine as cynical as I did, Dave Cutler?
I laughed a lot, man.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I said said like Davin is so passionate about him being short that it like deeply offended him that they made that like a one-off joke. But I laughed a lot.
I mean, it was funny because it was Hugh Jackman's head on the little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
If they just used a 5'3" dude, I wouldn't have been laughing. But
yeah,
no, but it would have been an interesting thing to see.
No, to you, it wouldn't have been entertaining.
You might get a 5'6" Wolverine, 5'7". You'll never see 5'3".
I'm fine with 5'6" and 5'7". I'm not.
You may.
I'm not an unreasonable man.
I hope you're. I don't know how tall Henry Cavill is. He's probably pretty tall.
He's probably like 6 feet.
Oh, I think he's taller than that.
Yeah,
I'm 6'2", and I want to play Wolverine. So
he seemed to have like Wolverine's thickness though. He's a pretty thick fellow there in that scene.
He's 6'1".
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
too big.
Well, he's shorter than Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, to start.
He's a huge jacked man.
Huge jacked
man who had a great cameo in Rick and Morty last season. You don't watch Rick and Morty, Dave? It seems like a very Dave show to me.
I watched the first 3 seasons. I mean, this is a complete aside, but I think that episode with the Purge, it planted seeds that lost me eventually. Like once Morty's innocence is gone and Rick is more or less proven right about everything, there's not anything in the show for me. I found it dull after that.
People are made with multitudes, Dave.
He murdered like millions of people in that episode. Like he's just on a murder spree. I never came back from it.
I think that was the last episode I saw too.
Oh man, I love that.
I watched another season and a half, I think. But
come inside. Let me tell you my tale.
I'm all right.
She's pretty hot. Doesn't know it, and she knows it.
I'm all about the Smiling Friends now. That's my show.
Smiling Friends. I don't know what this. I'll have to check it
out. You gotta watch
commercials for it.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right, what's your favorite part of the movie, Dave?
Oh, I don't know, man. What's your favorite part of the movie? I'm sure you've already said.
No, I didn't. We're still walking through it, so we haven't got to the end yet.
Where are you?
We're about halfway through. We just got to when they got captured in Cassandra Nova and taking Cassandra Nova.
Who is a good villain here? Very creepy.
Oh
formidable.
yeah, she for like they don't give her a lot, but she does a lot with what they give her.
Yeah, she's really good.
Really good job.
Yeah, showing her powers kind of being with the fingers in your brain is an interesting way of doing that too. Very creepy.
When she drags the Paradox dude, I think it's Paradox by his face.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
he's all bruised up afterwards and stuff too.
Well, he was bruised up because Deadpool broke his nose.
Broke his nose.
I forgot that part actually. He said, he said when he said, "Yep," and then he goes, "You're gonna come to the Avengers universe." He says, "No, I'm gonna take that. Go find a Wolverine and break your nose." And then he like breaks his and breaks his nose.
Yeah.
So that was good. Yeah, no, all the little cameos like the Hulk, Wolverine, John Byrne, all that stuff was really, really cool. I dug all that, and the fight sequences are really great. The fight sequence around the car was pretty impressive.
Oh, the one in the car.
That's like brilliant to put the big like Wolverine Deadpool fight we've all been waiting for like in such a confined, ridiculous space.
I mean, so much blood in that car.
At the end the first one, the first fight they're in the void. It's a whole bunch of nothing, and then they confine them to the car for the second one.
I think the fight sequence with all the Deadpools, and you finally see him put the cowl on. Like, I mean, I was pretty happy about that. My wife was sitting with me, and she enjoyed the movie too. But like, she certainly doesn't get all of she hasn't seen every Marvel thing, and she doesn't care about comics. So she was just like, she enjoyed it. She really enjoyed it too, and even without knowing all that stuff.
I had sort of forgotten about it and almost given up on the cowl at that point in the movie. I'm like,
it's because the things he says are so funny. Like,
and then
it's never just about the comic. They throw something funny that someone that doesn't know will appreciate in with it. So there's enough there. But yes, the cowl was very cool. It looked, once I saw him reaching behind his head, I was like, oh shit. And then you see it come up. I'm like, oh man. And I was super happy to see it. It's nice. It's nice to show that these costumes can work in film. Like it looked good.
I think it was Deadpool says to him, he's just like, look, it's the first time you don't seem embarrassed to be in a superhero movie.
Yeah. And I saw something just recently where it was like them asking why they gave the X-Men the costumes they did in X-Men 1. And they said, that I can't remember who it was. It was someone that was involved in the film, and they said, literally, it's because of the Matrix movies.
Feige said it.
Yeah, he said the Matrix movies came out, and everyone was wearing leather, and it was very popular, and that's why they did it.
That's the way studios think. That's why you should
never. I agree.
I thought that was like an open secret anyway.
No, I never saw it before. I just saw the clip recently. So.
Yeah, but even at the time, I thought people were saying that, like, oh, it's because of the Matrix.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of black leather.
I love the voice of whoever that person was that time. It's like, oh, it's because of the Matrix.
I'd say my favorite part was finding out that Chris Evans wasn't Captain America, that he's the Human Torch.
I really saw that coming. I was almost sure.
I didn't, and it's weird because it's something I considered months ago. I was like, oh, they'll probably like do Chris Evans because as Human Torch, that's like so Deadpool a joke to make. But in the theater, because he had a red glove.
In the superhero landing.
Yeah. The word Human Torch never entered my brain as soon as I saw the red glove. So I was floored.
Yeah, that was a fun little gag.
Yeah, and it is like, why would Johnny Storm need to jump down in a superhero landing pose? He can fly. Like it just...
Oh yeah, that's not really playing fair.
All to mislead you. Yeah, I think my favorite part is probably that fight sequence at the end, or the sequence with all the Wolverines. That was fun too. When he's trying to recruit them all, that was all really good. But yeah, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine was a cool choice. I really dug that. It was fun to see.
I don't know. My favorite scene almost might be the end, just because it made me emotional. Like when they
97
saved the day.
97. Remember he says Marvel's going to keep you around to your 97
so
years
you're
old.
90. He keeps saying.
He just leans over and he's like 90.
It's funny that was like I saw that on Friday, and then the Robert Downey Jr. Doom news came out the next day.
Yeah,
until he's 90.
It's almost like they're like, hey, remember, we just showed you a movie that establishes all of this fucked up multiverse stuff to get you ready for the fact we're doing this now. It was actually kind of clever that they did it the way they did it, or how they did it.
The jokes I was most impressed with, that I was like, wow, Disney let them say that, wasn't the drugs or the sex stuff. It was the, like, welcome to the MCU, Wolverine. You're kind of coming in at a low point.
Yeah.
And
doesn't the multiverse saga suck? I think they even said at one point. Like,
he tells the other Deadpools that the multiverse thing just isn't working.
Yeah.
Which I was like, wow, that's like, they let him say it. Okay.
But they agree. They're sort of dropping that idea. It's now Doomsday and not the Kang Dynasty.
I think it still will, because Secret Wars is next. I think it still will be a multiverse thing.
Oh,
I imagine
100%.
that Tony Stark is, well, I don't know if it's Tony Stark. I'm calling him Victor Stark. I imagine he's going to be a multiverse Doom, even if he is the main Doom. And I kind of think that's a cool way to close. Like I'm like the one guy going like, I actually think that Robert Downey Jr. is a cool Doom.
I'm not that upset about it. I'm not upset at all about it. I'm sure
the surviving Avengers having to deal with seeing their dead heroic friend as like the evil version of him, the one who took a suit of armor around the world too far. I'm excited. I think it's cool, but the zeitgeist is pretty anti-MCU these days, so it's hard to stick your neck out for it.
I think
even after a movie this fun,
you never show him as Tony Stark either. You never need to, because there's no big reveal, shocking reveal associated with this at all. We all know Iron Man is Doom, or like the actor, so you don't actually like that. Can't become part of the plot, which I like. So you never have to take the mask off him. Like he can play a completely different character if he wants. That isn't even Tony Stark. He would just play a really good Doom too. You can change his voice a little bit. He could just play Doom, never take the mask off.
Doomsday is actually coming out in 2026, and Secret Wars is 2027. So
yeah, the Russos are doing them too. So
I'm so glad.
Yeah, one will lead into the other.
Back.
Yeah.
I actually would have been more. I think it would have been a better revelation if you discover it's him in the movie. Like to tell us that now is kind of like.
No, see, I like that. I wouldn't have. Been, I don't want that to be part of the plot myself.
No, I would.
I think it's very much going to be. They can't do that and not do it. It's not just going to be him in a mask the whole time.
Yeah, I want to see Rhodey and the Hulk react to it. I do want to see him as
maybe we'll get Terrence. Why did I forget his last name? They got Howard playing back as a multiversal Rhodey.
Didn't you know he's a crazy person?
Well, I mean, he was difficult to work with, which I think is why they
Well, yeah, he also
was a
invented
crazy
like
person.
insane person math. But
Yeah, he's a crazy person. He thinks 1 + 1 is or one.
One time.
Times one can't be one.
They were making fun of that on
because he's crazy.
On Last Week Tonight or something a while ago.
Because a thing times a thing is two things.
Yeah, it's like dude. Pay attention in elementary school, but yeah.
No.
Oh, we also forgot to mention.
We didn't get to him yet.
Mary Poppins.
Oh, wow, you guys are like barely.
We didn't get there yet.
We haven't met Nice Pool yet.
Yeah, we haven't got to any of that yet.
The extra Canadian Deadpool.
You gonna hang around for some of the walkthrough, Dave, or
no? I'm gonna get back to work, but
all right.
I also want to say that
secret
like
Gambit
one thing
project or whatever you're working on.
No, it's not for Marvel. What I'm doing. Yeah, that's fine. I've said my piece.
No. Say what you're gonna say. Say what you're gonna say. I want to hear it.
The one thing that I thought that worked really well was when they would use the rare moment that Deadpool would shut up. Like he'd stop talking and he'd just be like staring, and I would always be like, "Oh man, he's gonna fucking kill everybody."
That was awesome. That scene in that fight sequence which is coming up, where he just says, "I'm going to fight you now," and it was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good. It was because like Reynolds is one of those actors that often plays a goofy, funny person, but every once in a while he does something serious, and when he does, it's actually usually pretty good. Like Melissa McCarthy and Will Ferrell, like whenever they do a serious movie, every once in a while, it's quite good. And like you can see they're really good, like dramatic actors too. Reynolds was in a movie called The Voices, which not a lot of people saw, about a guy with a schizophrenic guy that is killing people, but he lives because he's not taking his medication. It's all kind of a candy coated, lovely world. And everything doesn't seem as horrible as it actually is. Like a girl he kills heads in the fridge and it talks to him. But then like there's a point in the movie where he tries to turn it around by taking his medication, and he sees the reality of how horrible the world is when he's not seeing it through this filter of his psychosis. And it's a really interesting movie, and he does a really good job in it by playing both parts. Like it's kind of goofy because like his dog and cats talk to him, and he does the voice for both of them in different accents. But it's like Anna Kendrick's in it. It's actually like a really interesting movie, and I really liked it, but it didn't get a lot of attention. But he does play serious and kind of broken. He's also in an Adam McGoyan movie called The Captive, and he plays a father whose child gets kidnapped, and then like he spends years looking for her and never finding her. And it's a very serious film, and he's very good at it. And there's nothing funny about it. Oh, I've never seen. Yeah, that's a reference in here too. It's good. Yeah, no, it's good. It's solid.
I could tap the fourth wall too. The proposal.
It might have been my favorite joke in the movie. Might have been.
It's pretty great. I love. It's funny though because trailers once again ruin everything. So like once you met Nice Pool and you see him with those guns, and I've seen the trailer with him holding those guns later, and you know he's going to get them. So, but that's the world we live in.
You know he's gonna get them anyway. They're golden friggin' guns.
But they're beautiful. They look. I'm not even a gun guy, and I wanted them.
I didn't want them. I don't like guns.
Anyway,
all right. We'll see you, Dave.
Nice talking to you guys. I'm glad you liked the film. Bye, Nick. Bye.
Bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. So they're
How about that cameo by Marvel Comics' own Dave Color?
So is it a Dave night where Daves are making cameos?
We know a lot of Daves.
These are the Daves we know. These are the Daves we know.
Daves
on the East Coast, most people are named Dave.
Devin, you must get that reference. I know Nick probably won't, but the Daves I know.
It's in the hall. These are the Daves I know.
Okay.
These Daves I know.
Yeah, a very Canadian show that I believe made the jump to the States.
Yeah.
Lauren Michaels produced it.
There's a new one.
Yeah, and Prime. That's good. So they're taking
it was played in the States anyway, apparently, I've been told.
Yeah, it was because Lauren Michaels produced it.
They did the head switch thing.
Yeah, exactly. Switching ahead.
After it ended, like Mark McKinney went to SNL and filled it for a little while, like a year or two. But
and eventually that show about a shopping center, super center or whatever.
Yeah, he's been in
shows since with America Ferrera. Superstore.
He's on an FX show that I really like called Man Seeking Woman with Jay Baruchel. That was really, really good too. So anyway, we come back, we meet the who's behind all this, which is there's a big skeleton corpse of a giant man version of Ant-Man. That's the headquarters that they all live in. They go there and they find Cassandra Nova, who's running everything, who is the twin sister of Charles Xavier from Parallel Universe. She was pruned as an infant because she was so powerful that the TVA feared her and sent her to the Void. So she grew up in the Void. But she likes the Void and wants to stay there because it's like where all she's ever known. So Johnny mentions when they're traveling to this place that Alioth, how do you pronounce it? Eliath. That's even better. That sounds way better than what I was trying to say. Eliath.
You guys want to make a snowman or
what?
You like a snowman?
Is this a Coke reference?
What are you referring
to? Of course, it's a Coke reference.
But do you have cocaine? Is that? I mean, we're talking on.
But I was just asking.
Okay, well, no, thank you.
I don't have the materials.
I don't know how I'm going to get it from you. I don't have it in my house. I certainly don't have it in my house. If any authorities are listening,
I don't have a cure for blindness.
Yeah,
go collect your vinyl without cocaine.
I loved at one point where Deadpool references the blind lady he lives with, Blind Al, and then Wolverine goes, Jesus. He's like, what? He goes, you call her Blind Al? like he's disgusted that blind is part of her name. He's like, what? She's blind.
He even says my blind roommate, Blind Al.
Yeah. So when they get there,
who can still see cocaine somehow?
Somehow
she can still see.
Her other powers are enhanced because she's like Daredevil and she's smelling.
Yeah.
On the way there, Johnny Storm references that Reed talked about this place, called it the Void, and like Cassandra Nova runs it and all that, and she's quite the customer, kind of a horrible person. When they get there, for some reason, which doesn't really make any sense at all, Deadpool throws him under the bus, constantly saying how much Johnny has made fun of her on the way over here and said all these horrible things about her. He also referenced
why later, but
he also Johnny also references Eliath, who
from Loki season 2.
Yes, which Deadpool says when they say it, which eats up people, but Cassandra Nova keeps it happy by feeding it people that she hits in the Void that doesn't.
Are the people in the Void anyway? Like
they should all be killed by it in the Void. That's what they're there for.
Right. I don't know why she has to get them for. Get them.
I think it's just to stop him from coming to her. I guess is kind of the point. But it also seems like her powers has something to do with that too. That she keeps.
Oh yeah, she can control him.
Yeah,
kind of how Loki's enchanted him.
Yeah. So
Sylvie could have showed up and kicked some ass in this, but yeah.
So we find out that she has made a deal with the TVA to willingly stay in the Void and keep track of it for them. Basically,
they put her there as a baby.
Esther Deadpool, sells out Johnny, saying he said all this horrible stuff about her that Johnny says he didn't. She rips all his skin off with her powers and he melts into like a little bone pile. And but they while this is all happening, basically they have a little bit of a moment which they manage to escape. So Deadpool
Wolverine later says, "You got that kid Johnny killed." You're like, he was at least 50.
Yeah. And when he says later when they're talking about him with the survivors, and he's like, "This Johnny you mentioned, I'm sure that he would have loved all the he just totally throws it aside." But so while they're fighting in a way, they run into the Dogpool, who is played by a delightful dog actor whose name escapes me, but I remember because I looked it up not so long ago.
But she's Mary Poppins in the movie.
They call her Mary Poppins, aka Dogpool. So this
she
dog
won Britain's ugliest dog one year.
She did. She's a weird mix of dogs. But considering it wasn't an actor dog, this dog wasn't trained, it did an amazing job. Very good. Whatever the trainers that trained jump. Yeah. So Deadpool obviously is very taken with this little thing that licks his face all the time, which is really funny. He's just looking at him and it's licking his lips.
And its tongue always hangs out of its mouth.
So then we meet its owner, who is a version of Deadpool that is not scarred, has a top knot and beautiful flowing hair. Nice looking Ryan Reynolds, who is often referred to as Nice Pool. He says,
"He's like, why don't you wear a mask?" He just goes, "Guys."
Yeah. Just look at his face.
Come on.
Why would I? His Canadian accent is heavier too.
That is true. It is actually
worried a lot.
Deadpool is reluctant to give up Dogpool, but he offers to help them by leading them towards the other survivors that could help them that Johnny was a part of. Johnny referenced. So he also lets him take his car, which is just like a shitty car. The Honda what?
Odyssey.
Wasn't
Because
it?
that's what they ask him about when he's selling cars. He says, "How does this compare to the Honda Odyssey?" He's like, "The Honda Odyssey sucks. This one's great."
Yeah, no, he says this one isn't a piece of shit. But yeah. So he's very upset that it's a Honda Odyssey, but he offers to let them take this car to where they're going to get to. And he takes it.
Then later he takes it back. He's like, "I take it back. The Honda Odyssey friggin' like slams or whatever."
Yeah.
Does MCU hate the Honda Odyssey? That's why it got pruned into the void.
That's very possible. The TVA does not like it. They pruned it.
That's pretty funny. CN Tower's there too, though.
So
things in the void.
I did forget one small fact earlier. Deadpool had promised that he had the TVA device, and he promised to get Logan to help him, that he would be able to fix Logan's timeline as well and prevent whatever he did that everyone hates him for. This is why Logan is along for the ride so far. But during this, while they're driving along, Deadpool lets slip that he lets slip in something he says that he's not sure that they can actually fix his timeline. To which he says it was an educated wish when that
comes up a lot,
which actually is a nice, because it was a nice line. So then they have a basically he's so upset that Deadpool is not sure he can fix his timeline. He rips into him, like literally. Logan gives him the worst talking down I think I've ever heard someone give someone else in a movie. Basically calling him out for all his insanity, his craziness, his ability to basically self-sabotage everything good in his life, and like literally it's right on the money, and it's really good. But there's a real long pause where Deadpool says nothing, and then he just looks at him and says, "I'm going to fight you now," and then Wolverine laughs at him, but then they just get in a massive fight all around the car, like in the car, out of the car, back in the car. It's a massive, crazy fight, which is awesome.
Eventually, Deadpool just ends up wrapped up in like the seatbelt and.
Did we see the diner part? Isn't that right before where he drinks the rubbing alcohol?
Oh, that is. I'm sorry. Yeah. So they do see a diner along the way, and they stop in there.
Of importance happens, I don't think.
Well, this is where Logan explains what happened to his unit. No, he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
No. He explains that to Cassandra in his head.
He explains that to Cassandra later. But Deadpool and him have like a conversation about what's going on and everything. But it's sort of about.
He does tell him he's the shittiest Wolverine. He's like,
yes,
the shittiest Wolverine here.
Yeah, he's very broken, as we learn. But he also is drinking rubbing alcohol out of the first aid kit because he just needs to drink.
He's just like, no, don't drink that. And he's like,
yeah. It's a nice little moment. So then they basically are both passed out from exhaustion from fighting because neither can kill the other because of their healing factor. We see Deadpool's all wrapped up in the seatbelts, like almost like a mummy, and Logan's passed out beside him. And then a figure gets in the car we don't see and drives it off to a secret hideout where we meet the Borderlands is where they're hiding out, is what it's referred to. So they meet the other Resistance members that are still alive. We see as Wade wakes up, Logan is already awake, and his sleeves are now ripped off his costumes. This is where
drinking some Jim Beam, and he's just like, I like this place.
Yeah, he found some Jim Beam. So we eventually meet the other survivors, who are Elektra Nachios, played once again by Jennifer Garner. We meet Eric Brooks, also known as Blade, once again played by Wesley Snipes. And there's a great line where he says, "I don't like you" to Deadpool, and he says he never did, because like there's very famous notes about Blade Trinity, which Ryan Reynolds was in, and how difficult Wesley Snipes was to work with people in that movie. But it's really cool that they got to come back and work together, because they obviously had issues before. Like
but there's only one Blade, and there will only ever be one Blade.
And they all look. He looks nervously. They look at each other because, like, he looks nervously at the camera because he knows they've already cast another one. Whenever the fuck that movie's going to come out,
if it ever does. Yeah.
And there was already another one for
Sticky Fingers.
Sticky Fingers Jones.
Yeah.
And then we meet Remy LeBeau, a version of Gambit, this time played by Channing Tatum, who
and he did amazing. I'm convinced. I never thought I'd say that, but I was blown away.
He was fine.
I was blown away.
The hair looked kind of weird.
He didn't look the best, but the voice and the mannerisms, he was bringing it, man. Though my theory is they wouldn't have played it that cartoon. You could say cartoonish, but I think it works for the character. I don't think they would have played it that way in his long lost movie. I think they probably would have played it more straight.
They reference the Johnny, like what happened to Johnny, and then Wade realizes that Johnny was part of this group, and he says that he died valiantly, basically trying to save them. Not revealing that he got him killed, essentially. Which is pretty funny. We also meet the person who drove them there, who is Laura.
Yay,
X-23,
Laura! Happy to see Laura.
Now an adult, who's now an adult, the actress, and has lived a life, but before getting pruned.
And they do mention Punisher was with them for a while, but he got.
They do
killed.
because they use this rocket launcher.
Which Punisher do you think it was?
Thomas.
They're
Jane,
like, there's been like 15 of those.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been Thomas Jane. Could have been Ray. Could have
been Dolph Lundgren.
Could have been Dolph Lundgren. Could have been our good buddy there from
the whichever one the Russian movie.
Yeah, that was Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane.
John Panette was in that movie too, right? So there's and Rebecca Romaine. There's your Mystique reference.
No, yes, right. She played,
also, Spacker Dave was played by Ben Foster, who was Angel in X-Men 3. So, lots of interconnections to the X-Men universe. So, so this is Laura. Is there too, and she says, they're all getting ready. They figure out the best plan they can do is to use. They want to get Magneto's helmet in this universe on Magneto, but then they find out Cassandra Nova, whenever she kills a Magneto, melts the helmet down because she knows it can stop people from affecting the minds of others by using that helmet. But the closest thing that they can get is Juggernauts, which exists in this world on the head of the guy we saw earlier. So they make a plan to get the Juggernauts helmet, and that way they can put it on Cassandra's head and stop her from being able to fuck with other people.
Man, does Laura sure know how to fight the Juggernaut?
Yeah, it's pretty great. So so then they have like preparing to battle the next day, basically the other leftover people, and that's where they made the joke about dead Daredevil, where they say Daredevil fallen, and Wade says, "I'm so sorry to lecture," and she goes, "Man," because her and publicly Ben Affleck don't have a great relationship. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're probably amicable, but are no longer together. So so then they decide, the other heroes that are left alive decide they're gonna give it their all and have a final stand to give their story closure. And when they're talking about, like, it's kind of alluding to how they played their characters in the movies as well. But then as they're saying, we got to fight our battles, Remy would say, or almost did, and then because his movie never got made. So they're like, and give this the end we all deserve. And it goes, or would get eventually, like he was, or wanted to say, So it's a nice little nod to the fact that, but that's what Dave was saying. Like, if you didn't know that Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit for like years, and then when the movie never got made, it wouldn't mean anything to you.
This is a movie for fans. It'll make money because there are that many fans.
But like I said, Jen didn't know any. My wife didn't know any of that, and she still enjoyed the movie. So it works on a lot of levels.
Still funny.
Oh, Nice Pool also mentioned there's a army of Deadpool variants called the Deadpool Corps that are out there.
Where do you see Lady Deadpool? He says
that you don't want, and they make some jokes about how she had a baby but then lost the baby weight right away, which you're not supposed to say about women. And she's played by Blake Lively. So it's his wife. So there's that. But and I don't know if they work for Cassandra. Yeah, they do work for Cassandra as well, apparently. And if they run into other Deadpools they don't like, they'll just cut you apart and then bury you in different parts of so you'll never get to reform in various parts.
There's some fun Deadpools.
Yes, and we'll get to that
too. They
too.
all show up. Yeah.
So so basically those ones are going to make a last stand and give Wade, Laura, and Wade and Wolverine a chance to get the helmet on Cassandra and get back to their timeline and fix things. So the big fight happens. They drive the car up to the gates, use the old Punisher's old rocket launcher to blow it up, and then get in a massive fight.
But they make you think Wolverine's not going with them because he's like, "No, I'm not doing it." And then he's surprised.
Yes, I forgot about that. They had a fire the night before where Wolverine is feeling bad for himself and saying he's not going to join them because he doesn't think he can fix his universe. And then Laura sits down and says how in his world she allowed her to grow up and have a life, and that he reminds her a lot of him because he was a grouchy, drunk guy. And he says, "I'm not the guy," and she says, "You were never the guy until you had to be." Which was a nice
great
line.
stuff.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
This movie wouldn't have been as good without Laura.
It was nice that they had her back. She was really good in it. So then when they get there, and as they get there and start the big fight, the back of the car opens and Wolverine steps out. So we realize he came along as well. And then a big massive fight happens, which you don't need to get into too crazily, but during the fight, Wolverine confronts Cassandra and she says, unlike her brother, she has to get more tactile with how she gets into your brain, and her fingers like go through your skull You see them come out and in, and it's really cool. Where she
seems
gets
to have some telekinesis as well.
Yeah, where she reads Deadpool or Wolverine's mind and finds out what happened, which is basically and part of the reason why he wears the costume was because the Wolverine, Scott had begged him to wear the costume back in the X-Men days to join the rest of the X-Men, but he was too cool to join them basically and left. And when he left, they all got killed by humans. And he was so enraged by them all dying that he killed a bunch of humans in the way, which is not letting the whole world
She's like, you killed all those bad men. He goes, not just
the bad ones, but like, but like, that's what I was saying. In the world he was in where we found him, he was just drinking. Everybody treated him shittily, so they knew who he was, or is it just that they thought he was a drunk guy at a bar? I'm not really sure.
No, they knew who he was.
But then, why is he allowed to sit in a bar and drink when the cops come get him?
They didn't want him there. They're trying to kick him out the whole time.
Yeah, but wouldn't the cops have come, or somebody,
right.
some kind of the
Avengers? I wouldn't want to be
the
the two cops sent to pick up Wolverine.
Well, Wolverine says, "Fuck the Avengers," meaning the Avengers are in his world.
Yeah.
So the Avengers would take him down. Somebody would
try.
Yeah, they would have. Definitely.
Maybe he's just in a nowhere land like he is in like the first movie. He's just in a bar that no one cares enough to call the cops, but they just don't want him there. Maybe
that's very possible. That's very possible. Much like the mini Wolverine when he first sees him, he's in an axe throwing bar, which I thought was funny. That might be the first time an axe throwing bar has showed up in a movie.
Has to be in horror movies, right?
It's a fairly new thing, right? They only started coming around in the past 10 years, probably less than that. So, the big fight happens. We find out what Wolverine's dark, tragic story is. Wade obviously is in there too and getting fucked up. Laura manages to have a one-on-one with the Juggernaut, cut off his ankles off at the bottom.
Good way to fight Juggernaut.
Every time in a horror movie when someone takes a shot to the back of the ankle, like the Pet Cemetery, it's like it's one thing in a horror movie I can't watch. I think like literally I can watch almost everything else, but that one freaks me out. In fact, I have an irrational fear whenever I use the gym at the shower at the gym, which is pretty much every day, that someone's going to reach under the stall and slash at my ankles with a knife. I don't know why. It's just instilled in there.
Yeah, but as long as you're ready for it, they'll never succeed.
That's true. So I'm constantly watching my feet in the shower at the gym.
Exactly.
So yeah, big fight happens. They manage to get the thing on her. While that's happening, they're going to stop her. Basically, they just want her to open a portal so they can get back to the TVA.
She's got a sling ring.
They wouldn't know that yet. She said that they know that she can get out of the void, so they want her to help them. Well, that's going on. Pyro shows up, shoots her in the stomach a bunch of times because it turns out he's working. We learned earlier he had a conversation with the Paradox through a phone that he's working with Paradox at the TVA. So he's killing Cassandra to take her to make her not be able to let them out. They managed to kill him, and Wolverine says, like the Charles he knows, he says, take the helmet off. She says she'll die if they don't take the helmet off. And Wolverine says, take it off. And Wade's like, what? And he says, like the Charles I know would never allow even a bad person to die this way if we could help her. So take it off. Whatever happens, happens. And she's sort of struck a little bit by like the connection to her brother. And also
big damn hero stuff.
They would do this. So she heals herself, and instead of hurting them, it lets them go. She used the sling ring that she took from a variant of Doctor Strange she killed to make a portal.
And wore his skin for 5 days, she said.
Yes. She's a very disturbing character, this Cassandra Nova, but I really liked her. It makes me more disappointed I'm not going to see like a full version of her in a Marvel movie. Maybe I will eventually, but not.
She could show up in the Exiles. We're definitely going to get the Exiles in the Secret Wars business, probably. We'll see.
You keep saying words like definitely.
Definitely, probably.
We're not going to see anything. It's like that line from Princess Bride. I don't think you know what that means.
Inconceivable.
I definitely know what that means.
But you use it so improper. No, I'm kidding. We all do it. We're all victims of hyperbole in the nerd world for sure.
I'm a morning person, and it's very late.
That's true.
The fact that I speak English is a tribute to me right now.
That is, you're doing very good. Your English is spot on, I must say.
Thanks.
So she allows them to go and stays behind. But then actually she doesn't kill Pyro because he's just incapacitated. She finds out, interrogates him, and finds out that Paradox had tried to kill her. And she's like her contact for the other world. The TVA tried to kill her after she made a deal with them. So she decides to go figure out what's going on. So they get back to Earth 1005, which is, or 10,005, which is Wade's original Earth, the original X-Men universe. I'm not sure why that number is significant. Maybe there's a fact about that.
There'd be a comic connection there, likely. They usually are when they throw those numbers out.
They find that Paradox has begun using the Time Ripper. The TVA has an office in this universe in like the sewers. In this where the Time Ripper is, they're starting to use it. So Cassandra learns the plan from Pyro, executes him, goes through the portal, and kidnaps Paradox, using her abilities to read his mind and then learn about the Time Ripper. So,
she's just dragging him by the inside.
Yeah, she's like holding him by the face, dragging him like it's her fingers
ball.
are in his head. Yeah, it's really
brutal,
really disturbing. So she plans to take control of the Time Ripper and use it to destroy all the timelines, leaving only the void that she'll control. So as she starts doing that, Deadpool and Wade arrive in our universe and are trying to get their way to the TVA office to stop it. On their way there, they encounter the Deadpool Corps, who are the army of Deadpools that Cassandra has under her. And we see a lot of interesting Deadpools here.
Headpool.
See Headpool. We see
played by Nathan Fillion.
Lady Deadpool, who is played by Blake Lively. We see a child Deadpool and a baby Deadpool, both played by Ryan Reynolds' kids.
Cowboy Deadpool, played by Matthew McConaughey.
Did the voice for him anyway. I doubt he's in the costume. We see Deadpool 2099. We see
Welsh the Greatest Showman, Deadpool.
Right. I forgot about that one. Yeah,
Kid Pool, Baby Pool.
Yeah, those are Ryan Reynolds' actual children.
Funny.
So yeah, basically this is the big fight. This is where Wolverine puts the cowl on his head.
We got to get the Nice Pool getting killed and learning he doesn't have a regenerating factor.
The only one who doesn't.
that was just before this happened, right? So coming through the portal is Dogpool, and then Nice Pool,
right?
And then all the Deadpool Corps, and then they all run and hide behind the car with Nice Pool, and Deadpool goes to use Nice Pool as a shield. and then he gets all fucked up, and he pulls him back behind the car, and he's like, heal, and he's like, healing factor, like he doesn't have one because Deadpool looks the way he does because of his healing factors. Nice Pool doesn't have one.
He's just like, tell me, say it with me, I'm going to be fine.
So he continues to use him as a shield, running out and just getting him shot apart. And he's like, I'm paralyzed. He goes, use your legs, damn it, you're like dead weight. He's like, I'm paralyzed. He's just getting shot in the back constantly. So then he's like, say it with me, you're gonna live, and then his head explodes. Like,
why does Deadpool need a human shield if he could just?
He doesn't. He just doesn't want to feel the pain.
Well, he just wanted the handsome guy dead, so he didn't have anyone to battle for the dog.
That too.
Why did he run across though? What was the point of leaving the one point of cover to go to another point of cover just to come out of that point of cover?
I thought he's trying to get to the phone, wasn't he? Wasn't there a phone booth or something there?
There was like a hot dog cart or something. I felt like.
Oh, that's what they're.
Seemed weird to like leave one place to go. I think it was all just.
Well, they were inevitably trying to follow where Cassandra and Paradox went. So, which they went down into the subway. So maybe they were just trying to get to the subway.
Maybe. But then they do that big the walk back in front of Layfield's feet.
Liefeld's just feet. That was a good gag too. Yeah, we definitely got to point that out.
Then, well, weren't they in that building and then the building blew up?
Yes, they got like knocked into Liefeld's at one point, and then they came like walking out. Yeah,
I didn't love the street they were on. It felt very like overtly fake. Like it looked like some of these sitcoms, like we're Friends. Like if they show the outside of Friends, like it didn't look. Like when I saw in previews, I thought it was part of the void, like just bits and pieces dropped in, not like an actual town.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen several Marvel fights on that set in different movies.
It was though where like it was cool that it came full circle. Like that's where they started when he and Peter were riding their bikes, and then now they come back to the same place. Like because you saw in that scene way in the beginning, the like guy who looked like a surveyor who was actually taking the pictures for Paradox.
Yeah,
same area.
You're right. I didn't pick up on that, I don't think. But so yeah, that's a good fight scene. Wolverine and Deadpool managed to slaughter like all the other Deadpools pretty much.
But then all the other Deadpools regenerate at at same time.
Yeah, they all regenerate at the same time.
Oh, we're continuing the fight. Yeah. So
yeah.
But then that whole and then what you guys talked about the scene where Logan puts the mask on?
No. Let's talk about that now. And then the cowl goes on, and then they start to murder everybody. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's before the big old fight. It looks so cool. You know,
Deadpool's just like, I'm so wet right now.
He even says he says something like he says it looks badass even with the blowjob handles. You know.
Yeah. These?
Yeah. So they go through, they get in a big, they manage to wipe out all the Deadpools, but then they all start regenerating. But then Peter arrives dressed in the Deadpool costume ready to help them. Also during this fight, Blind Al is listening to it up in the, you can hear it up in the up in the window of her house. And does she say, I wish I couldn't smell or I couldn't hear?
Yeah. I think she said, I wish I couldn't smell.
I wish I was Jeff. I think she says.
I thought smell, but anyway. So there's just guts flying everywhere. There's a massive fight with Slice, but it's so cool. Like it's such a great sequence of fights.
So, like every Deadpool has a Peter. Everyone loves Peter.
Yeah. So Peter shows up and they all stop and they're all. First, actually, that's what it was. So when Wade got to the other point of cover, and then Logan holds up Dogpool because he's holding him, and then none of the Deadpools will shoot him because he's like, oh, the cute little pup. So he manages to hold it and walk across, and then go to Deadpool, and that's when they come out, and then they have this big stand. They let the dog run off. You see him running away in the background. So then they have the big fight, but then Peter shows up on his bike, ready to fight. One of my favorite moments earlier is when Peter, which I forgot about, was when Peter was talking about. To Deadpool about finding your passion or whatever. He says he knows he knows an older guy, a friend of his, that got a piercing between his nipples and down to the head of his penis. Yes. And then later on at Deadpool's party, you see him showing somebody he has that piercing.
Talking about himself, it was a story he was telling.
Well, no, he said it was a friend of his first.
I know that, but I think just you say that, this friend of mine.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. That was the joke. So, yeah. So then they're all distracted by Peter, and they say they all have Peters, and they all love Peter, and they're all just hanging out with Peter. And Deadpool's like, "Enjoy my Peter," and he runs off with Wolverine to go do the thing. There they find
Peter's bulge is very noticeable.
Right. So they run off, and then
David Bowie labyrinthian.
Yes, very labyrinthian. I'm David Bowie. So yeah, they get there where they find out from Paradox that Cassandra Nova is going to rip apart all time using her ability. The only way to stop her is to get below her to the guts of the machine and to connect the two the antimatter and matter ports, which will effectively erase whoever does it from existence completely. Even healing factor doesn't matter; you'll just die. So Wolverine says he has nothing. Deadpool's fighting for his world. He wants to do the sacrifice. He's going to do it. It's his time. He's ready to go. But then Deadpool.
Black Widow back and forth.
Deadpool agrees and then tricks him and locks him out of the room. And they even make fun of Star Trek 2, where he says like I'm Marvel Jesus, maybe Spock too, because they do like the hand on the glass. So he goes in and he starts ripping out the thing and then trying to reach the other one, but he's having difficulty getting all the cords out to reach the other one. But Wolverine,
the whole time Wolverine's going to get there.
Of course,
because it doesn't matter. It was still so emotional. I loved it. It's probably my favorite.
You see Wolverine trying to break the door down, and then eventually, just as it seems like there's a little screen that's showing how much power is going down, which will, once it hits 0 is when Cassandra's plan works, but it's getting low. It's like 4%. And then just then is when Wolverine grabs his hand as he got through the door and then uses his claws to go into the other one, and they connect. And then Wolverine's shirt explodes, rips off him, and he's shredded. And then they even have like a scene where while they're like both like being riddled with power, you see Deadpool look over at his abs and kind of like nod.
Gotta say, cowl with shirtless Wolverine looks even better than the full getup, because like the suit, to me it's just kind of okay. It's great to have it, but it's
as good as it can look in real life.
I don't know that. It's
earlier in the movie, he said he was wearing the suit because he had put on weight from the divorce.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. So Deadpool says this is Wolverine. Normally he doesn't wear a shirt, but he's put on a bit of weight since the divorce, which is a fun nod to the fact Hugh Jackman's got divorced recently. So they've been together for like a long time. That was a crazy divorce announcement. So anyway, the power overwhelms. It does what it's supposed to do. Cassandra, it reverts back on Cassandra, atomizing her and destroying the Time Ripper.
Spaghettifying.
Then kind of the way that like actually, did you notice that where were they at? It was in the void. There was like on the ceiling of the cave. There was like the Scarlet Witch was there.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, which was like a design
mountain. The same thing from the mountain in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. I actually really liked that movie. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was really good.
Hulk's bed from Ragnarok was in there too.
Right.
Giant, like jawbone.
Oh, and we didn't forget to mention that when they first got to the Void, the Fox Studios sign was part of the Void, but behind them, the Century.
There's a Thor helmet too, like a Thor wing helmet, and the CN Tower, Brooklyn or Golden Gate Bridge. There's so many.
A helicarrier.
Fantastic carrier. There's a lot of really fun stuff in there. So, So then, Hunter,
and of course, Ant-Man.
Yeah, I mentioned that. But Hunter B-15 from the TVA shows up, and this is where Paradox tries to explain that he did nothing wrong, and that it was, Cassandra Nova's plan, and that the Deadpool and Wolverine sacrificed themselves to save them, and they were real heroes. But then we find out they're still alive because since two of them took the brunt of it, it sparsed out the energy between them and didn't atomize either. They managed to survive. Also, Peter shows up in the
slow motion action sequence.
Peter shows up and flirts with the Hunter B-15, and she's into it, which is really funny.
She's like, "You look amazing in that costume."
Yeah, he's like, "I'd like to get to know you," or something like that. He says, "You don't know me, but I'd like to get to know you." So basically, they take Paradox away, lock him up for his crimes. And B-15 reveals that whatever they did, it's fixed the timeline. That they're now they don't really say if it's Logan or Deadpool, but there's a new somehow they've made a new anchor being that is keeping this universe from deteriorating. So Wade also asked if they can fix the timeline to fix the people that help them and put them back in their respective timelines. And B-15 says she'll see what she can do, which implies that she will. So like X-23, Elektra, Blade, all them will get to go back to their timelines from the Void. And they ask about rewriting Logan's, and she says that there's nothing that needs to fix because the Logan we have now, this hero, is only this hero because of what happened to him. And, they accept that. So Logan mentions he kind of wished to retire, live a peaceful life. They go have a shawarma. They make a reference to the Avengers doing that.
The Avengers discovered shawarma.
They did, he says, yeah. So Logan is going to kind of leave, but then Wade tells him to wait, and then he brings him to his house, and he meets all of his friends.
I thought they went for churros or something like that, though.
No, they're all at his house. I think it's like he's finishing his birthday party, kind of is the way it's.
No, I meant before that. I don't think they go for shawarma.
No, they're eating shawarmas. They're sitting there eating shawarmas, and he says the Avengers invented shawarma.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Because they're sitting outside the shawarma place.
All right.
So Wade reconciles with Vanessa, and we get that happy ending. And Dogpool's there. Everybody's happy. It's a great little end. And then in the mid-credit sequence, we see Deadpool say that he's sick of everyone saying that he got Johnny killed, and they didn't say all that stuff. And he shows a clip of Johnny saying all the horrible
look at the replay
that he said. So
I think it's very like extra because Captain America is so wholesome, but then you see the guy who's Captain America saying like these horrible things.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh, it's a good rant. But yeah, that's it. Did you guys think they were dead? Either of them?
No.
They can't die. Like who they are is
he's like a cockroach.
It's difficult for them to die anyway.
Well, they said our healing factor fixes. And he goes, no,
they said it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, they said you'll still die,
but it didn't work. So.
I don't think either of them would die.
Do you guys remember this scene in the movie?
I do now.
When me and X-Man were in the movie. Yeah.
That was in the Void.
Yeah, pictures taken by the heroic Rachel, a passerby. It's just like, you want me to take those photos? Because I was trying to do it with a hand and it wasn't working. Good job. Thank you.
That's good. That's very good.
And with tickets bought by the equally as heroic Lindsay. Thanks, Lindsay. My benefactor at a lot of these movies, actually. All right.
Did they have, did you guys get any of the swag? Like, I got the Deadpool cup.
I thought about it,
there,
but most of it was gone. Most of it was sold out.
I have a lot of
Wolverine
nerdy
cup.
ephemera. I don't need much.
Right.
Me too.
Unless it's really needed.
I get mine to my son because he loves Deadpool, but he's 9, 10, so he's not going to watch any of the movies. So he's like, well, can I have something? I guess I'll get you.
I made the mistake of buying a water.
Deadpool, couldn't you?
So I was already like $40 in the hole from that water.
Yeah. You could show him the Once Upon a Deadpool, like the recut of the second one that's family friendly, couldn't you?
I suppose I could. We watched like some of the like Easter egg videos because those they have to edit because they're on YouTube. So we'll watch those for him. But he was happy with it.
There was like a 10-year-old in the theater showing I was at, and we walking out.
And behind me.
It's just like, did you like it, buddy? The kid's like, yeah. Like,
one of my favorite moments in the theater ever is, remember that movie Strays that came out like last year, where it's like on the stray dogs, and Will Ferrell and like, and Kevin Hart, I think, and a bunch of the guy that played Jimmy Woo on the X-Men or the Marvel stuff.
Randall Park? No, not
Randall Park, yeah. And Randall Park, yeah. And a bunch of people, they play like stray dogs. And one of them is Will Ferrell's dog is owned by Will Forte, who's a real asshole. And then he still wants to like please his master because he's a dog. But then Forte abandons him, and then he meets up these other stray dogs and realizes that Forte abandoned him after all he did for him. And he wants to go find Forte and bite his nuts off. So like they curse, and there's a lot of jokes about like everything, and a lot of like dogs humping and all this. And like the movie starts. And it basically gets right into like how much a piece of shit Will Forte is, where he's cursing at the dog all the time and like jerking off and like cheating on his wife. And then like there's a guy behind me, and there's like two tiny kids behind me, and the dad goes, "Okay, kids, we're gonna go. This isn't the movie Daddy thought it was." He just saw he just saw like a clip of talking animals and thought this was a movie for his kids. It was so funny.
It's like that movie Sausage.
Oh yeah.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
Time to decide, fellas.
Yeah.
You guys ready to decide?
X. Any of my nitpicks, it's either 9 or an X, but I had so much fun with it, I'm just going to give it an X.
We both gave Deadpool 2 10s, and this is better.
Yeah,
than
this is.
2.
I wouldn't say it's better. Deadpool 2
it might be.
Deadpool 2
I liked it more.
Deadpool 2 is emotionally a better movie. This is.
I don't think it was. This one made me more emotional, like because like the whole Wolverine thing at the end, like I don't because I care about the character of Wolverine more than like Vanessa or wherever the beats were at in the second one, or that kid. It's just like there's just I don't know. I was more invested.
It's about found family.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? What are you giving this one? Did I load that up? Oh no, I didn't. There we go. So I got me and Andre's 10s in there.
I'm not locked into having previous votes, so
you're right.
I'm going with a 9, and I will say
that's fair enough. I'll take that.
I loved the cameos, but I wish they had done more with like the villain cameos. Like Lady Deathstrike was in it for a second.
Yeah,
Sabretooth,
the red
with the Russian. I think they were all there just so the heroes could have their,
Nightcrawler's dead.
That brings us to a 9.7 total, which is probably accurate because it's not perfect.
Pretty close. 9.7 is pretty close.
I would also say even the worst like X-Men movies, I still like better than most other movies. I love superhero movies in general. So even I'd watch Dark Phoenix over and over again before a lot of other.
I would not.
Movies.
I will never watch Dark Phoenix again. Never again. I'll never get those two.
I still say it's not a bad movie as everybody thinks it is.
I watched it on a plane, so I had to watch it again and actually see it.
Not good. I only saw it for the first time last week, and I haven't gotten over how bad it is. They'll spend money on anything in Hollywood, I'll tell you that much.
Do you guys feel after reviewing all of the X-Men and the Deadpool movies that you're like better prepared for this Deadpool, or you could have just not done that and still enjoy it just as much?
I think it did better prepare because there's so many referential jokes.
It certainly is nice that we had the benefit of reviewing the movies not too long before the movie came out, so a lot of it's still kind of fresh in our heads a little bit.
And I have a shit memory, so like I needed it personally. Other people probably remember things they see in the past, but not me.
Well, your guys' reviews definitely helped it for me. Like,
thanks, man.
I remember this now.
Man.
All right, moving on to
some fun facts.
Hey, check this out.
We'll come back to your fun fact. We'll come back to your fun facts in a second. And I already hit the theme music. Okay. Hey, check this out. Check this out. Our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. All right, well, I'll go first. I mean, check out that cover because it's relevant.
It looks so good.
Mark Silvestri is one of the best, though.
Humble brag.
Yeah. What else did I pick? Oh, well, I picked my favorite Deadpool Wolverine story. Uncanny X-Force.
That was really good.
They have a lot of team ups But as far as comics that they're both in quite a bit, this one's my favorite. And you know what? Even this trade, this is the first of probably 6 or 7 trades in this run. But the Apocalypse Solution, I don't feel like the other one's ever quite reached the heights that this one does. So go read the Apocalypse Solution. I'm also just randomly, because if anyone in the comic book world and MCU world is goddamned, it's those two. Jason Aaron's Goddamned.
It's a great series.
Yeah, check that out. It's brutal, bloody, and crude, just like this movie. And my last recommendation, for no particular reason whatsoever, the Books of Doom, for absolutely no reason.
Purely coincidental.
Purely coincidental. Go read the Books of Doom.
All right. Nice.
That's me.
All right. Beautiful Darkness. It's a French film, or French movie book about fairies that inhabit the body of a little dead girl in the woods. It's very disturbing, very weird, very different than anything you read before. Beautifully drawn, and kind of a guess about the fragility of life and the inheritance of death. And it's super good. I was turned on to it by Troy Little, who's a comic book artist and friend. And it's super interesting and very cool, very different, and well worth reading. Check it out. Beautiful Darkness.
What you got?
Not the teen books. That's a different thing. But this graphic novel is very good.
What you got for us, Nick?
All right, I got 2. So first one is X-Men versus Avengers, because there was a possible world now that both of them exist in MCU. They could actually recreate this. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is, and they did this with Civil War too, is like they clearly delineate who's right and who's wrong at some point. And I don't love that, because I like the X-Men more, so I would have rather them be the heroes. And then, because not only do I like comic books, but I like lore and things surrounding them. This is Marvel Comics Civil War, The Age of Terror, critical essays on Civil War. So
interesting. That's interesting.
The first essay goes on whether or not the Superhuman Registration Act would actually be constitutionally legal in the United States, and the implementation of it. And they equate it to the Affordable Care Act, as far as like if you actually had thousands of people had to register this type of thing, how it would go. So it's very cool, and it's a cool way to look at it, because Civil War is always one of those, like, although in the movies they kind of, and the comics, made a right or wrong side, that it really isn't a right or wrong. It's more of a perspective thing, and I like that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say depends on who's sitting on the Supreme Court.
Yes. Very much so.
Yes.
But it was really cool.
They really got to figure out term limits in those Supreme Court guys. That would make your life a much better place, hopefully.
Would it ever?
But it's not our world. It's Nick's world.
We've got
hey, check this out.
We've got other political advice for you Americans too that I'm sure you want to hear.
Yeah, that you want to hear for sure.
Yeah.
I don't normally post about anything political. I did post a little tirade earlier about JD Vance. That whole speech he gave, I'll read.
Because you're a couch advocate, a known couch advocate.
Yeah, I do think that's hilarious. This is what I put. I said, I don't get really involved in political discussion on Facebook, but this is more in relation to some chosen rhetoric. JD Vance saying that people without children are more sociopathic and don't seem to have skin in the game when it comes to their country makes me very angry. He has said that the left are mainly comprised of childless cat ladies, and those little kids have little regard for the future. Well, as a cat dad and the proud husband of a childless cat lady, I'm in good company. I care deeply for my country, this planet, and its people, and for whatever reason I don't have children doesn't diminish that. This attitude and turds like him that uses a political rallying point can get all the way bent. So,
not to mention he follows a religion that is created and administered by childless cat ladies with no kids.
Yeah. Well, did Jesus have children?
Nope.
So, Marvel Jesus, we'll see.
Maybe.
All right. So let's move on to this one, and we'll.
You already played the check this the movie one, didn't you? Did you play?
No, I played the comic one a second time.
Oh, I see.
You don't like the movie? Change the channel. My remote.
What you got for us, Andre?
Well, I host a movie night here in town, and we did it this past Monday at a local bar, which is always a blast. They make cocktails based on the movie, a special cocktail to honor the movie. And the cocktail they made for this particular movie was called Get Your Ass to Mars, because we watched Total Recall, which is with Arnold Schwarzenegger film, which is a fucking blast, and it still is.
Yeah.
It's definitely Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movie, in my opinion. Predator's up there, but this one is better. I really like it.
Predator.
Paul Verhoeven is a really cool director. He made some garbage movies, but he made a lot of really cool ones. And I'm sure the studio is probably part to blame for the garbage ones. But very cool, very great movie. Still as fun as it was, as I remember it being, with the crazy action, amazing practical effects, and just a really fun story that you
Open
kind of
your mind.
Quaid, get to the reactor.
Your mind.
And the woman with three.
The three-breasted woman, yes, of course. I made that joke when I was introducing the movie. I said, "Who's seen this for?" And a few hands went up, and I said, "What memory do you have most of this movie?" And then they all start talking. I said, "If you're going to say anything but the three-breasted woman, you're lying," and I don't buy it.
That and the thing.
Gene Roddenberry wanted Deanna Troi to be a three-breasted woman in TNG.
Really? That seems like something Gene Roddenberry would be into.
It's so Gene Roddenberry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to say go watch Shogun. I finally got around to it, and it's amazing.
It's not a movie.
But it's amazing. I don't care. It's where my remote's taking us. What about you, Nick? You got a little remote recommendation for us here?
I'll do a show and a movie. The Boys. I don't know if you guys. I
do.
Boys.
I haven't watched the new season yet, but I watched everything else.
It's really good. It'll give you guys another view of American political situation. And then movie, only because Andre, you were mentioning Ryan Reynolds, the lesser known, more serious roles. Smoking Aces, I really like.
Oh yeah, I never seen that. I should watch that.
It's really good. So many great actors in it. Other than him, Jeremy Piven, Andy Garcia, Ben Affleck, Common, Alicia Keys, Chris Pine, like so many people. It's a really good movie, and he's serious in it. No comedy at all from him.
Cool, awesome.
Hey, look who I found coming to join the party.
Glad y'all decided to join the party.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Shall we talk about Robert Downey Jr. as Doom for a moment?
Well, I was still going to talk about the fun facts from this movie.
Oh, the fun facts! All right.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck, man? You just don't care about my fun facts. I've been doing this for every movie we've done. Every movie.
They haven't been that fun. No, just kidding. There's been some good ones.
Ouch.
There's been some good ones. This is the party segment. It's a party.
It's a party. It's a party. Come to the party, Richter. I'll see you at the party, Richter. To quote Total Recall. All right. So I'm just going to run through some of the fun cameos that we may not have mentioned because we blew through them. Shit, where were they? I just had it. Sorry.
A million different Deadpools.
There's a lot of Deadpools and a lot of cameos. All right.
Callisto.
So all the characters, the main characters we mentioned, that were in there. We also, like you said, Pinder and those guys back. So the Inhabitants of the Void, we got X-23, we mentioned all those guys, but we also saw shoot, I just had here. Frederick Dukes, the Blob, was back there somewhere.
Oh, right, there was Blob.
One of the vehicles.
Billy Clements was the Russian, as he's credited from the Punisher movie. Azazel, of course, who we saw there, but it wasn't played by the same actor.
I thought it was.
Bullseye was in the background somewhere, apparently.
It's a guy. So prior to that, they'd shown trailers, and it's a guy in a trench coat, but everyone thought he was from The Last Stand, the guy who was throwing the spikes at Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I did see, I guess they said that there's a small.
I know the guy you're talking about.
Indentation on this character's face, and that's him. And then he threw in the battle. They said he was like throwing things like Deadpool,
like Bullseye
does.
Okay. There's Callisto was in there somewhere.
Yeah, she was. She was there pretty prominently. She has the whip.
Jessica Walker played Arc.
That was supposed to be Psylocke with the whip.
Apparently, Psylocke is in there too.
She's the one who whips X-23 as she jumps up.
Okay.
So there's an Arclight. There's a Lady Deathstrike. There's a Psylocke. A different actor plays Toad. It's not Ray Park. And there's a female version of Quill that is there as well.
Okay.
Of all the Deadpools that we see in the Deadpool fight, there's Blake Lively, as you mentioned, as Lady Deadpool. Peggy or Mary plays Mary Poppins or Dogpool. There's also Ryan Leslie's children, Inez and Olin Reynolds, who play Kidpool and Babypool. Nathan Fillion is Headpool. Matthew McConaughey is Cowboy Pool. Wrexham AFC player Paul Mullen is Welsh Pool, who's the British Deadpool. Reynolds stunt double plays Canada Pool. You notice the Deadpool.
Oh, I didn't see Canada Pool.
Tom Holland's brother Harry Holland, the actor who plays Spider-Man, his brother, is one of the Deadpools as well, called Harold Pool in the credits. The Deadpool variants, played by undisclosed actors, are Watari or the Fool from the 5 Ronin Wolverine story.
Okay.
Where it's like a 17th century Japan Master of the Samurai kind of story by Wolverine. That's the sort of Asian looking Deadpool. Deadpool 2099, as I mentioned, the Golden Age Deadpool, and Zen Pool and Pirate Pool. And Reynolds' dance double did the dance work at the beginning, and he's credited as Dance Pool. If you look through the credits,
Dance Pool.
There's also, Cavill, as I mentioned, Ollie Palmer, who's another Wrexham player, was the bar attendee, and Rob I never pronounced his name right. McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Reynolds' partner.
McElhenney.
It's
the other guy.
Yeah, he's one of the TVA soldiers, but apparently his role was cut in the final part. So
funny that.
And then let's see, we got some more fun facts about we got the music if you care about any of that, but that's not really necessary. There's a lot of really great music in this.
Yeah.
There is a few little fun facts as well. Yeah, some of the points you made, like when they showed the dead, the skull of Ant-Man, like in the giant helmet. He says Paul Rudd's finally aged.
Yeah. One funny gag too is like there was the guy from Deadpool 2 who he's just like, look, no more speaking lines from you.
Oh, Chuck.
He's at Deadpool's
party, Bill,
and he does finally get another line, and he completely blows it again.
He goes, "What are you fucking ad-libbing now?"
Yeah.
But there's a character that says that's Wolverine, and Deadpool goes, "You're damn straight it is. Disney brought him back. They're going to make him do it till he's 90." And then later on, after like he survives at the end, and they're standing around, and Deadpool just leans over and goes, "No, you're 90."
That's also kind of meta because they're pointing out because Wolverine's 200, but he's saying to Hugh Jackman, "You're going to continue playing this role." So acknowledging that.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a few things I missed, like as you mentioned, Nice Pool says that he can touch the fourth wall as well, and he looks at the camera and says that the proposal. This is the movie he was in. Then Deadpool goes, "What the fuck is that? Like, do you think that's what I do?" There's also a Will Smith reference where he says, "Get my country's name out of your fucking mouth," and like slap the guy like Will Smith did.
Because he says this like he refers to Wolverine as like the good Canadian superhero. He's just like,
That's true. I do think it was pretty funny. There's also like a line where Paradox says, "Mr. Wilson, you appear to have sold yourself when you were unconscious." And he goes, "Oh, I wasn't unconscious."
That was pretty good.
But I also thought the part where he says, Blade says some motherfucker's still trying to ice skate uphill, which is one of my, I believe I've quoted that line many times. The original Blade movies, like some motherfucker's always trying to skate uphill. I love when Logan first puts the cowl on. Deadpool says, "Holy shit, you saved that good stuff for special occasions," and he goes, "Killing mostly," is what Wolverine says.
Yeah, murder.
Yeah. Which I thought was really good. There's some of the better lines. A few continuity goofs. One of the big ones is when they're in the Honda Odyssey, the clock jumps ahead 3 hours during their conversation.
And we did when you were gone from the camera. They were.
Pardon?
Does time even exist in the void?
Probably not.
Probably not. They credited IMDb as a plot hole. They said the Deadpool wanting to be a hero is inconsistent with the first two films, where he explicitly said he had no interest in being a hero.
We did mention Liefeld's just feet while you were away on.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay, I was going to mention that one too. One of the Wolverine variants of Deadpool encounters is wearing a brown and tan suit, which Deadpool refers to as the classic John Byrne brown suit. Introduced in 1980 in the Days of Future Past storyline, the suit Wolverine is wearing is actually a variation of the brown suit introduced in the 2019 House of X Powers X story, they say. I don't know how accurate that is. It looked a lot like the old one to me, but it's weirder when you see them in live action. They can't be exact replicas of what they were in the comics.
Right.
Because they're not going to look the same.
The colors aren't going to be as vibrant.
No, and just it always looks different on a real life human than it does in a drawn photo, right? All right, so here's some of the other stuff. There's a lot of it here. The Deadpool's new costume is a lighter shade of red, has larger eye circles, as you mentioned. So this was very much his 1990s comic look. This was Jackman's 10th time playing Wolverine. which is a lot. First R-rated movie directly distributed under Disney's Studios Motion Pictures, or any of its or as opposed to one of its banners like Touchstone or something.
Touchstone or whatever.
Yeah. The first trailer received 365 million online views within the first 24 hours, more than any other. I
think Andre froze.
I think you did too.
Well, I thought you did too until I saw your eyes moving. Good thing you don't have the white eyes then.
I know, right? That's why. See, maybe the white eyes aren't a good idea. And there were like a couple of scenes where it was weird that his eyes were white because you couldn't really see.
Because it made me feel like he couldn't see. Like obviously, I know he could see, but he's not blind.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil has the same thing, but he can't see.
Yeah, I wonder how they could have even explained the kind of.
Do you think he and Storm like go at each other with their white eyes? We're gonna both have white eyes right now before we do our.
Well, I like them as a couple, so they can go at each other with their white eyes if they want to. Well, we'll just kind of move on without Andre for now until he comes back. So I'll just do the rundown here, and if he wants to come back in and finish his fun facts, he can. We'll do the homework without him. Oh, there he is. Andre's maybe back. Let me hit the theme anyway.
All I need now is for you to contact your students, Professor.
It's a party like 97?
Oh, yeah, party like it was 97. See, that's why you're here, Nick. Thanks.
We're all over the place.
Well, the homework is watch New Mutants because we're going to review New Mutants next week. But yeah, let's talk about Doom then. Have any thoughts?
I don't love it. I feel like, I mean, I guess I don't have a huge vested interest in it, but I feel like I would have liked to see someone new portraying the character. That's just not him. And then they're going to have to address, like you were saying earlier, that it is Tony Stark, essentially. They can't just ignore that. And I know there are comic lines where Tony Stark becomes Doom, but
yep. And vice versa. There's one where Doom does the Tony thing. But yeah, I kind of hope they don't necessarily. I think they will, like Andre says, they'll probably make him reveal himself as Tony just to get the emotional beats out of the characters. But I would be just as happy, more happy probably, if he never took the mask off. His voice sounded a bit different, and he's just playing Doom.
Yeah, your guys all were. I'm back. You guys are all just spinning, and then the sand went away. I don't know what happened.
From our perspective, it was just you doing that.
Oh, really? Weird. All of you were doing it, but I wasn't. So that's weird.
Well, we were able to communicate with each other still, and not with you.
Okay, well, it's probably an issue of mine. I'm just saying, I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, well, it could be a StreamYard thing too. I think I saw a post there from the Star Trek feed they're doing over there that maybe something got squirrely.
Okay.
Who knows? Who knows?
You talking about Tony Stark?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We already did the homework. Watch New Mutants, but yeah. What are your thoughts on Doom there?
Actually, Davin, do we have a very stringent plan on how we're going to be revealing this out to line up with anything, or is it just New Mutants and then we're into the next show?
Then we can do whatever we want.
Because I think I'm going to be away on next Tuesday, so it might be a good week off.
Next Tuesday, so no New Mutants next week.
Yeah,
just delay it a week.
Yeah, is that all right? Okay, cool. I meant to talk to you about it, but a friend of mine's visiting, so I think I'm going to go see him in PEI, and I'll probably be away while I'm doing that. So I can tune in from PEI if you want, but
Well, or we could even have that other fellow on and just do that quick thing if you wanted to do that.
What quick thing?
We were just going to have that little shorter rep where we talked to that fellow who sent us all that info on the cast and whatnot.
Oh, you're welcome to do that if you want to do that with him. Yeah,
we can just do that.
Yeah, it's up to you.
A short one. All right. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, okay. 2 weeks. Come back for New Mutants.
Plenty of time for New Mutants.
Plenty of time. Exactly. You can watch it 10 times between now and then. Yeah, in fact, you should. That's your homework. Watch New Mutants 10 times.
10 times, yeah.
10 times, one after the other.
If it's only 9, we'll know. We'll notice.
Yeah, we'll know. You won't love it. You won't love it as much as you should.
From the comments.
It's funny because I remember thinking it was okay when I watched it, but not being overly blown away by it. I saw it in the theater when it came out.
I thought some of the casting was pretty good. She's too old for it now, but Anya Taylor-Joy was an amazing cast for Magic.
Yeah,
because she looks kind of creepy like a demon, like but beautiful at the same time. Like, and that's kind of Magic's thing. But yeah, so
you hear that, Anya Taylor-Joy? Davin thinks you're beautiful.
I do actually. She has a unique face.
Yeah, there's a movie she's in called The Menu with Ralph Fiennes. I highly suggest.
Yes,
I've heard of it. I just haven't watched it yet. I know kind of some of the plot points too. So
very bizarre.
On it.
Highly suggested. If you ever lost passion for something you once loved, that's the movie for you.
Interesting. Well, you can support the show. Oh, did you give us your thoughts on Doom there, Andre?
I'm okay with it. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, we're living in a world where it's all going to be, it's all going to be multiverse until the end of Secret Wars is what they're all leaning hard into. So this is just their way of garnering up interest for that and bringing back a recognized face. I'm not saying I love it, and I would hope that we would get another version of him that's not this multiversal Doom. I assume this is their cover up for Jonathan Majors, obviously not being in the public spotlight anymore. I think it'll be. I trust them. The Russos are cool too, so we'll see. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll definitely have some gravitas and some stakes. And like Davin said, seeing the face of your former friend as a villain you need to stop would be very traumatic for the heroes. I think that'd be an interesting thing to explore. So why not?
Spider-Man will probably have a very difficult time.
That will be very interesting too. So very excited to see what that'll do.
Tom Holland Spider-Man. Give me some more of that. All right. And was anyone excited at all by that Venom trailer when they went to the see this movie?
We didn't have a Venom trailer in my theater.
Oh, didn't you?
I did.
One. Oh boy!
I already saw it. I've always disliked those movies. The last one, the first one, the last one. The first one I thought was like okay, but not great. Like I would give it like a 5 out of 10. The last one I give like a 1. It was really bad.
There will be carnage.
Which sucks because Andy Serkis directed and I like him. I was like, oh, maybe it'd be a cool director, and it might not be his fault because the studio's heavily involved. But
there's no good script there. That's for sure.
It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Thunderbolts info and the Fantastic Four info?
They haven't put out any footage, right? It's just details.
And there was a Brave New World trailer during this movie too, and I'm
I did see that one.
Super stoked for that. It's like I agree. It's like kind of like the sequel to that you read to Winter Soldier. It's that kind of
so excited for that. I don't love multiverse stuff. I love the grounded, like
me too.
That would actually impact me more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be nice that they say they're gonna do like a grounded Spider-Man movie kind of next. That'd be really fun too. Yeah.
Get everyone out of space. Get them back on Earth.
Yeah. Just have them fighting.
I would like to see more stuff in space, but I want to see the space people doing it in space.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get space people doing
Starjammers.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Nova. There's so many cool space characters. What are fucking Star Fox and Pip the Troll up to? Let's
Friend of the show, Ron Rubin, can still voice Chode.
Chode. I still the best superhero name ever, superhero character name ever. Chode.
Just ignore the
well. On that note, you can support the show at patreon.com. Oops, there we go.
The dryer's ready. Devin's laundry's ready. That's gonna have to become like a drinking game or something. That whenever the dryer goes off is when Devin, it's like take a shot.
You can get merch at redbubble.com/people/X-Men review show/shop.
That's a long URL.
It's like Wolverine claws for each slash.
We're getting another last minute visitor here. Look at that.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Jimmy L. Robinson still on the streets of Hollywood.
Just pop back to my hotel. Just want to make a quick appearance. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Jimmy.
Hey. I told you missed a review, but I'm sure it was great. Very well informed, very detailed. Andre, you were probably the voice of reason. Voice of reason.
What?
I tried to be, but actually, we were fairly aligned on this one.
Okay. I only say that, Davin, because you are very passionate about a lot of things, right? So some things that might irk you might not irk the common viewer.
Yes, that is often the point. That's often the point I try to prove.
There was some cynicism
that's almost
movie.
That's almost 100% the main line of conflict in this entire show is that Davin has a very hard line against some arbitrary thing, and I just try to reason with him.
All right. Well, I'll try to be quick. So, in terms of the movie-going experience, I set it aside at the Chinese theater, and it was fantastic. It's a breathtaking theater. If you ever get a chance to go
there, it's on my bucket list.
Yes. There's a lot of knowledgeable people. Spend 5 minutes waiting for the credits to end. A gentleman came and kind of detailed a bit of the history of the theater. It was the first movie theater with air conditioning, for example. Christopher Nolan worked on the audio design for the theater, upgrading it. So it sounded wonderful.
That's awesome.
The movie itself is the meat and potatoes of what people want to hear. I liked it. I was actually surprised how touching it was and how sentimental it was. So
fun.
A lot of good callbacks where it didn't feel cheap. It didn't really feel cheap, like just for the sake of doing things. It was kind of putting the kibosh finally to the Fox universe. So I'm eager to see what comes next, because people always thought, how could Marvel, quote unquote Marvel, do an R-rated movie and keep the same type of sentimentality and sensibilities? And I think they were able to accomplish it. So I'm looking forward to what comes next. It was a good movie.
Blade the R-rated, the upcoming Blade.
Oh, really?
What? I thought there isn't going to be another Blade, as per Wesley Snipes in the movie.
That's true. And per Mahershala Ali, like he's been trying to make that movie for like 10 years.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to keep it short. Just want to pop in. It's not my review. It's you guys' review. X-rated. Yep. We'll talk about Comic-Con and everything another time down the road.
Sure.
All the stickers are gone. All the stickers were handed out.
Yes.
Okay? Yes.
Very good. And you got to have some nice times with Jubilee.
Yes, both.
Yes. Very good.
All right. Everyone have a great night. I think you should boot me just in case I accidentally press the end button, which I should not do, which I won't do.
All right. Take it easy. Thanks for
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Well, he's good like that. Contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and the Twitches. Find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, please like and review and subscribe, just like Nick Meredith here.
You give him away his last name. Now they're going to dox him.
I already done that like 5 times tonight.
Oh, okay.
The cat was out of the bag. The doxings are coming.
Prepare to be swatted, my friend.
That's all right. There's an evil
Terrence
version
Halton says this is the greatest movie ever. So I was a big fan there.
Nice.
Greatest movie ever.
Right.
So that's quite a line.
Of course, you can find that at us at ufpodcast.com. Any final words, gentlemen?
Thanks for letting me talk about the movie with you guys. It was awesome.
Anytime, brother. It's fun to have you.
Yeah. We'll have you back again for sure. All right. Well, catch you next time.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.